Up, up.
It's our derp. Da derp. Why are we doing this to ourselves?
I don't know.
I
I like
blame
doing
you.
it.
I blame. I just can't help but feel like it's Dan's fault.
And the cycle begins anew.
Indeed.
You know what you did.
I mean, yeah, he obviously died.
Exactly.
I guess I'm
But then again, so did you, Izzy.
When did I die?
I don't know. How long ago did you say your character died?
Yeah.
That's up to you.
That's not my bag. Maybe I shouldn't have picked yellow.
I mean, you were brown before.
Rank 3 actions. Where's my shit? Oh,
Right up.
It's over here.
okay. How do I change my position?
Oh, I can.
Click on your name and you should be able
There,
to
I
change
got
your
it.
color.
I'll take orange, so I'm over here in my little corner. Because Dan is taking that corner all to himself, you bastard.
My corner.
Session 0!
Woo!
Okay. What are we calling this game, or is it just Phoenix Dawn Command? Something.
So one of the parts of session 0 will also be you guys naming your group. So I think we'll figure out what to name the game after we figure out what to name your party.
Why do I have 13 things in this bag?
I gave everybody spark tokens.
These are the spark tokens?
Yeah.
That looks
Yep.
pretty chill.
Actually, Wash, can you create a spawner for those so we can, like, throw them away when we're done with them?
I already have. It's right here.
Oh. I meant, like, one of these giant bowls, but fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
Can you create a second one and put it on the opposite side of the table?
Could
Yeah, sure.
could I just have a small bag to keep 10 sparks in?
Also easy.
Can I?
Objects. Components. Tools. Bag. Also, Izzy, I'm going to fix this in just a second, but it's I was starting to change your color when you changed your color, and I can't undo the interface for it.
No!
Fixed it.
No! Why? Why would you do this to me?
Why
So that
does
there
this
aren't
guy
giant-
move, but the spark on top of it doesn't? That's bizarre.
What?
I have moved
Sparks
back.
moving away.
Spark is still in place.
Weird.
Let it never be said that Tabletop Sim was not a buggy game.
I mean, it's a physics simulator for no reason.
Yep.
Aside from the fact that you can flip the table.
We can
Yep.
flip
Yeah, I do have some questions about combat style, but I assume we will get to that in a bit.
Yes.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did I miscount my sparks?
I might have. It's entirely possible.
1,
Oh, I think I dragged one away. There you go.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Huh. Well, goodbye to those. No nice things for you, Izzy.
Stop taking shit from my side!
Never.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Nice try, asshole.
Nick, I'm looking at our Steam portraits, and one of us is going to have to change.
I disagree. We are both the best here.
Who wore it better?
What colors are sparks?
I mean, it's subjective. They're the mana equivalent.
Mm-hmm. Look, when Steam gives me a better portrait than Zagreus, I will change portraits, but Zagreus is the best portrait.
Everybody let me know when you feel like you're ready.
I mean, I guess I'm ready. I just need to remember how to... There we go. And we're also going to change this to frickin' 45 degrees. So I'm going to put these sparks over here by Dan. What are these black things?
They are what Dan has chosen for his health levels. We have, I was working on a model for it, but it didn't load in quite right. So in the meantime, we will use your choice of go pieces or checkers.
I'll use go pieces.
Those are mine.
I'm also using go pieces.
You jerk.
Can I just copy them?
There's a whole box.
I can
there's a whole
copy them.
bag. There's a whole fucking bowl of them in the middle of the board.
Yeah, no, they're not yours.
He just wants to steal your health, Dan, to get you the first level up.
I'm being a good...
Here, I'll do you one better.
Wow, you're...
Oh wait, actually, I can't. Never mind. I can't have permissions to do cloning.
Yeah.
I was gonna clone Ziggy's for you.
What makes you think I want Ziggy's health?
Call it an instinct.
Yeah.
You certainly sap it every time we meet.
Your instinct?
No, my health.
Ouch. Harsh.
Don't worry, Ziggy. You're the healer this time.
Yeah,
I know.
You could just leave me to die.
He can also move wounds around between players if he wants to.
See, you could
That's
kill
true.
you could kill me at any point.
True.
My life is literally in your hands. Doesn't that empower you, Ziggy, knowing you've got some kind of sway over my life?
It really does.
Okay, I need to mute your server for the next hour, Nick.
Yeah, that's fine.
I know. Oh no. Eric's hyper-focusing.
Yes, but this happens like every week.
It's true.
Hyper-focusing into what?
It changes
Depends on the week.
Man, there's so many bad Steam avatars.
I think my Steam avatar is actually pretty awesome.
Oh man,
Maybe
I haven't
so.
changed mine since RPI.
Same. Actually, I remember when we were in college, I was like changing mine every couple of weeks.
So, once again, is everybody ready? Or are people still messing around with components?
I mean, I'm just making all my crap into a nice little straight line.
By all means.
I feel pretty good.
But yeah,
Yep,
we can get started. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, I did explicitly say out loud, everybody tell me when you feel like you're ready, and then no one, and then only one person responded.
Oh, I'm ready.
We managed to get ready with only 10 hours of 10 minutes of fucking around.
That is impressive for us.
It's true.
I mean, come on.
All right.
Bag.
Everybody be quiet for a minute while I talk at you.
Oh, no.
Here we go. You were born in the Dalen Empire, a prosperous nation whose dominion stretches across the known world. While there is magic in this world, and it is powerful and dangerous, it has largely been suppressed by the Empire. It's not part of everyday life. The Empire itself has been prosperous and peaceful for centuries. At least, it was, until 3 years ago. That's when the Dread began. A wave of terror that has shaken the very foundations of the Empire. We faced all manner of supernatural horrors. Dead soldiers have risen from their graves to prey upon the living. Skin changers and stranger beasts lurk in the wilds. We've lost entire cities to a chant that turns all who hear it into crazed killers. Any nightmare you can imagine, there's a good chance you can find it somewhere in the world today. And worst of all, we don't know why this is happening. We don't know if these attacks are somehow connected, or if the world is simply falling apart. All we know is that we are at war, and we are losing. Mortal soldiers can't defeat the forces of the Dread, and we have lost almost a third of the Empire to these horrors. We have only one hope, and that's you. You are phoenixes. In your first life, you could have been anyone. A soldier, a farmer, a child. But you died a remarkable death, and were given a chance to return, stronger than before. You are imbued with supernatural strength and power, and if you die, you can return again, up to a total of 7 times. There are 100 phoenixes in the world today, and you are all part of an organization called Dawn Command. You are charged with fighting the forces of the Dread, doing your best to protect the innocent, and find out anything you can about why this is happening and how we can turn the tide. Your missions will be dangerous. You may not survive. You may not always succeed. Don't be afraid to die. Just make sure each death has meaning. Hey, everybody.
Hi!
That was very XCOM.
Yeah.
It's not a little XCOM-ish. This game did come out in 2015, so it was around and probably pretty salient back then.
Welcome back, Commander.
So, I kind of have 3 sections to talk about here in session 0. One is a little bit the meta conversation, like here is what to expect from this game, so that everybody's expectations are on the same page. And also a little bit of scheduling, logistics, things of that nature, style questions. Part 2 is making sure everybody finishes off their characters on a plot level. You all have a Google Doc with some questions I would like answered. They don't have to be incredibly detailed, but I would like at least something to go on for each of them. Some of them are just general flavors. Some of them have very specific purposes. And finally, I will give you all a chance to talk a little bit in character at the end. And depending on how much time we have and how everybody's feeling, I am hella caffeinated at the moment, so I could go for a while. We may get to the opening crawl to the first mission. Now, would you guys like to talk meta first or finish characters first?
I think
Talk
we
meta first, probably?
Yeah, talk meta, I think, will inform us a little bit more about finalizing our characters.
Yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Very first question has nothing to do with the game itself. All of you are free Monday and Thursday. Different ones of you prefer different days. Rather, I have a preference if there's a deadlock, but I will always put players first if I don't remember who wanted which day more, but that's kind of the first big thing to figure out. Do you guys want to play this on Mondays or Thursdays?
I would prefer Thursdays.
I agree with Dan.
Likewise.
Monday, but it sounds like I'm overruled there.
Okay, Thursdays.
Are we doing weekly or every other week? Was my other question.
I would like to do weekly, but I'm also aware that a lot of you have either moves or vacations or things of that nature coming up. That was another one of the questions. I can put those on my calendar now, or we can straighten that out later.
I can give you the... I mean, you said this is probably going to be 10 weeks, correct?
Yes, it can go between 7 and 14, depending on pacing, which is another thing I'm going to get to basically right after scheduling.
Gotcha.
I have a feeling it'll be around 10.
Okay. So just so you guys know, I'll put this out there now. From the 10th of March to the 16th, I am not going to be in the country. So I'll be missing the 10th. And 17th, I will probably be jet lagged, and it's also St. Patrick's Day. If you guys want to meet on the 17th, I will happily do so, but I'm assuming everybody's probably got plans on the 17th. I don't know, though.
Probably.
Okay, so one of the other things on that is 2 other people who are not here have expressed interest in joining the game. I haven't gone through the scheduling rigmarole, but Eric and Peter Casey are both interested. So if we have some people who have to duck out, we can either hold off for a week or 2, which I'm absolutely fine doing, or we could run with the people who can make it. And once again, I want to start this game with exactly 4 people, because that is what the 2 first missions I'm running straight out of the book are written and balanced for. After that, I'm willing to open it up, because I think I'll have a handle on things.
Okay. I'm perfectly happy with if someone can't make a session, and I'm saying this knowing I am probably going to miss those 2, keeping it going, because I know that if a game loses steam and we're like, oh, someone can't make it this week, push it off to next week, it dies a slow, painful death. So
Yep.
I am very much of the opinion of run no matter what, assuming you have whatever you have decided is your minimum player count, Wash. And
Hey.
we go from there.
Mhm.
That's me. If you guys have other opinions on that, please voice now, because session 0. I mean, that's what I've been doing with Avatar on Wednesdays, and it seems to be working.
I, having had games die for that reason, also agree.
I appreciate that from all of you a lot. That makes my job easier, and I like momentum.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ziggy, Dan, what about you guys?
Fine with that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay.
Cool.
Sorry, I'm mostly focusing on answering questions on my sheet at the moment.
Oh, I haven't even looked at that sheet yet.
I was gonna save that for the character portion and kind of go through them one at a time in case you guys wanted to jump in and
It's
out
mostly
on stuff.
it's mostly visual stuff, like what's my talent, what's my uniform.
Oh
that
yeah,
sort of
yeah.
stuff.
Yes.
Oh, I already know all the answers for that. They've been handpicked specifically to piss off one of you.
It's
I wonder who.
It's probably,
Ziggy. We know it's Ziggy.
I
well,
don't.
I don't know. It might actually be me. I don't trust Izzy.
Nor should you, unless we're
So-
unless we're in the same Phoenix wing. In which case, you have to trust me.
You are in fact all in the same Phoenix wing.
Ah, you gotta trust me then, Dan.
Well, fuck. Well, no. My character has to trust your character. I do not have to trust you.
Important distinction, but fair.
So the second question, as it sounds like the first one is resolved. First two actually. Pacing. Not necessarily. So this is two parts. This is one. I know we're doing a system test here. There's an inherent trade-off between giving everybody as much time as they want to describe their turns and kind of rushing combat and non-combat as fast as we can. One of the major themes of Phoenix is time pressure. Not necessarily real-world time pressure, but like you guys have to finish your missions quickly or people will die. So I don't know if you guys would like to be rushed along or if you want to have unlimited time for everything. I'm
I
also
think
kind of
unlimited-
asking these because I'm curious what this particular group of players will answer, so you don't necessarily have to answer just for this game.
So I think the main answer is unlimited time for the first session, and like probably also the second for any given player, because actually learning what you can do in the system.
Oh, very much. That no matter what, the first session, you guys were all going to get plenty of allowances for that.
Yeah. I think the big thing is as long as we can get, as long as it's clear up front, like what information we do and don't have in game. I think once we've got used to the mechanics, I think a somewhat faster pace, especially in combat, would help.
Mhm.
Yeah, because combat is when things usually drag down to a terrible time.
I'd agree. I will say outright, because of my class, I will be a problem in that regard.
Yes, Nick is playing the Tachyon equivalent.
Like, the problem is, I might just have, like, yes, I'm taking my turn, and then I'm taking a whole additional turn on top of my turn.
You're also playing your entire deck most turns.
No.
Not quite.
Very much no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nick's starting ability is when you play a 2, you draw another card. You can play as many cards as you want during your turn, and a quarter of your deck is, and a quarter of everybody's deck is 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, no, I'm not playing multiple turns each turn. I am probably going to get an average of 1 or 2 additional plays per turn over everyone else, but I won't know what they will be, so I can't plan between turns for what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure my turns are going to be relatively quick, because I think most of my actions are going to be when Wash is having enemies go, from how I built my deck, with interrupts.
Actually, on that one, a thing meta-wise I think would be useful is if we have a standardized rule on interrupts. Mostly, if someone later realizes in the middle of an interrupt chain theirs is something they should have used earlier. I lean towards, this is XCOM, you made the mistake, don't make it again.
I think if you realize it within about 30 seconds, I'm good with that being retroed, but yes.
I think mostly it's, if you realize it before you enter another step of resolution is the main one. Mostly, Wash, you remember Shiro's character in my last Pathfinder game?
Ah, yes,
That is the type of thing I'm worried about.
I understand. Yeah, like I said, I think this one will be. I will start with lots of leniency as we are learning the system and cut it back as things go on. This is a fucking hard game. I'm gonna put that out there. Like, you guys won't win every mission, and almost no missions will you all survive.
Yep.
Wait, we're supposed to survive?
You are all supposed to survive if possible.
Look, we know Izzy and Dan are racing to who gets to final death first.
No, they're not. Dan has an ability that makes him impossible to attack.
It's true. It actually is kind of hard to find me in this game.
Don't
But
worry.
then again, that's just because I'm playing on hard mode.
Yeah, no, like just because you're playing on hard mode doesn't mean you're not racing for that.
Yeah, I will still find a way to die plenty. I can pretty much guarantee it.
Exactly.
Okay, so the other pacing question was more of a session thing. Like I said, this game can go 7 to 14 sessions. That is basically assuming everything I have planned goes for about one session, and and a few times we'll go over because I'm not naive, which is why I think it'll be around 10. There are also that is 7 sessions of like missions. You go, you do a thing. I can add in interludes, character building things like that. I will probably have a few of those, but I was curious how many of those you guys would like. Obviously, the answer may change once you figure out how much you like the system.
Yep.
But if there's an innate I know that part of the pitch for this game was that it was not going to be ad infinitum.
That sounds reasonable to me as a place to start, and then eventually, like, we will see where it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like we shouldn't cut it short if we've got more stuff to do, and we're involved. But at the same time, we shouldn't drag it out if there's just like a lot of dead space noise kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and does anybody have a hard cap for time they don't want to play past in a given evening?
2 a.m.
11:30.
11:30. Lowest number gets to be the cap.
I would say 10 to 10:30 if at all possible.
I'd also say 10 to 10:30 Eastern time.
Yes. Okay. 10 to 10:30. Yay, physical paper. Weird question. I have a feeling that this particular group won't care that much. But once again, kind of polling generally as well. Does anybody have any does anybody have any thoughts on like keeping out of character talk to a minimum when it's not your turn or things of that nature? Nah.
I mean,
The more I remember how the cards work.
I will do my best. I know full well I am one of the worst at this table as far as that goes.
I mean,
it is an option. It is if everybody wanted to do it, we could make a point of it, but it's one of the things to talk about ahead of time.
As long as it's not distracting from what's going on. Like, there will always be tangents, but, like, if we're going on, like, a 10, 15-minute conversation about something else, that needs to, I think, be saved before or after game.
Okay.
This is part of the reason why I support, have a Discord server where we can post dumb memes or references while action is going on.
Yes, that is definitely happening.
Which
that
is great
does help temper me a little bit.
Question. We did say end time would be 10:30. Is start time going to be 7 or 7:30?
I was leaning towards 7:30, but if we're trying to end by 10, I might ask for that to be 7. I hope that doesn't make life difficult for Ziggy.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
So 7 to 10 is what we're shooting for. Okay.
I may have to add an extra session or two to the expected session number count, just because most of these things are designed... At least the first 2 are designed to run in 4 hours. We will see how that actually works.
Makes sense.
So do you guys want to have tons of reoccurring NPCs that you can keep track of and stuff, or would you rather we just keep it the spotlight sharing with how much supporting cast focus? It is incredibly dialable up or down.
Personally like supporting cast as long as they don't become the PCs.
Mm-hmm.
I second that. I like having a large cast of characters or people who will reoccur, as evidence is from recent stuff.
So there's no. Sorry, continue.
I tend to like having a few like familiar faces and such, but not an overwhelmingly large group of like NPCs.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the other weird side part of this question is, at least for the care gen stuff and the 2 missions I'm running, there are a few NPCs that like that the manual for running them says have players add distinctive features or the first thing they notice about this person, and I can come up with that shit on the fly too. But I wanted to check in with you guys if you want to skip it because it might break up flow or immersion, or if you like it.
That sounds fun.
Cool.
Okay.
I am all for trying, like, see how much of the system as written works. Which I think that
also, I think you guys are all experienced enough GMs to understand. So the stated design intent of that decision is if everybody gets a hand, is in making the players feel like a team and making them feel like they all have a hand in some of these people.
Wait, they ate our bodies in past lives and our hands are still inside them?
Well, only one.
only you, Izzy, because you're the failure.
That tracks.
I'm gonna have to do this out of my system early because my character is not mean in the slightest. I'm leaving it all thingy.
Let's see. Here's my list of questions. Once again, being very upfront, combat's going to be hard. There's some XCOM in this, like you said. Everybody cool with that?
Yep.
Excellent.
I'm looking forward to learning the new system. I like card games.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would ask to be careful of is the things that we ought to know before taking actions.
So another big part of this games is like there are a bunch of enemies that if you knew how to beat them, it'd be trivial. There are a lot of missions where the actual focus is survive long enough and mitigate damage to figure out how to deal with the actual threat, either temporarily or permanently.
No, makes sense. It just, especially with that awareness of what things we are supposed to know at any given time.
Yes. And I guess it's a little late to ask this one, but I don't want to beat you guys over the head with several hundred pages of reading, but it does help understand the world a little bit. I hope you all been enjoying.
PDF for that one because I only have the short PDF. It's not many pages of reading.
Oh, I emailed the other one to everybody.
Yeah, it was like 160
pages.
That
one. Okay, yes. A lot of that was mechanics.
Yeah. So the opening part is all plot information, and then the last chapter you guys have access to is mechanics.
Yeah, I got through the different classes. I picked my class, and then I saw that it went into different countries, and I'm like, I'm not going to read all this. And then I read the one that I decided on in conjunction with when we talked, Wash.
Yeah. If anybody's ever picked up an Eberron book, you'll know Keith Baker likes to write long things.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I saw that, and I also played the MMO.
Hell yeah. So, I once again don't really foresee anybody having any problems with this, but major themes are sacrifice, teamwork, loss, epic power, horror, and mystery. Anybody have any problem with any of those, or have something that they do not want in this game?
I will just say I am terrible at mystery, and it does not engage me very often, but thankfully I'm not playing a smart character this time, so that is Ziggy and Dan's job.
I like mystery. Do you guys want me to keep my mouth shut if I figure something out of character?
Probably not. I'm not a big
No.
puzzle guy.
Yeah, probably not, but depends on how important it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the problem is mystery is not one of the ones for me, so I would prefer if someone figures something out to be like, yo, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, it's just I don't want the Terran scenario to happen again, where I figured out so much shit and I was freaking succinct.
I mean-
I also want to be very upfront that like the over 100-page PDF I sent you guys is a little over a quarter of the book. Like there is a lot here that I have dug into, and it took me a long time to read all of it and make sure I got it all straight. And I am not planning on revealing everything that's in that other 300 pages or so in my campaign. I am not going to be revealing every mystery of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Okay. Okay. I'm out of my pre-written questions. Is there anything else anybody wants to address, talk about, ask me to include, anything like that before we dive into character finalization?
Post sessions, are we going to have like a pre-session and post-session? We're going to have a here's what we learned or here's what we did last time thing. And do you want to do that or do you want us to do that? How much notes do you want us to take?
The notes part is all up to you guys. I will not be giving out extra rewards for this game because you level up by fucking dying.
Yep.
I'm just going to walk over to Ziggy because his hatred for me out of character will stem into character. I'm just going to say, just kill me.
Uh-huh.
I will also say there are guidelines for if somebody feels like they're falling behind, having an appropriate off-screen death. It's not like, oh, I go off and off myself. That's not how we're doing this. But if anybody feels like they're falling behind, we can handle it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of my concerns with the mechanics is if, like, one person winds up 2 levels behind everyone else just by virtue of happenstance.
Yeah, we don't have a Durin.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I share your concern. Like I said, there's ways to handle it.
We don't have a... Oh, no, wait. Ziggy's devoted.
Yeah, we don't.
I'm devoted.
Okay.
Izzy, you're the tank.
No, I'm not! I am the flesh sack that will go down first.
You're the
Yeah.
HP tank.
Yeah.
I have the
While
same
you're-
HP as you.
While you're dying, we'll finish off the enemy.
Yeah.
Yep.
See?
That's how it works.
Win-win.
I actually grabbed a reasonable number of defensive things, but yeah.
What's defense?
It's that thing you ignore, Izzy. I haven't explained it to you for this express purpose.
Good.
Izzy, it's the thing other people try to do when you're in front of them.
Oh. But you all fail at that, so wouldn't that make you the same as me? We're getting too meta. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Alright.
All right. Anything else that you guys want to ask before we move on, or request, or what have you? I am open to cool shit. You guys are all very experienced, which is, and I just want to say for the record, I am very, very happy with this group of players.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited to play with you all again, and I think the dynamics are going to be amazing.
You say that now.
Yeah.
Ziggy, look at it this way. You get to kill Izzy, and it's a good thing this time.
Actually, I did have a question, but I'll wait till we get into finalizing characters.
And on that note, because I just want to cover this ahead of time, if you die and you have sparks left, you can attach to another phoenix, give them boosts, and speak through their mouth if they let you.
Hi, Ziggy.
Mm-hmm.
That last part is important because I know how you two play.
I actually have to take a note of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's also the only way to spend mana on defense, so somebody who's dead can do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. with that resounding silence to a request for more, we shall move on.
Oh.
All right. Let's start talking about your characters. We have already done card and trait selection. The last time we all met up in a fluke of good scheduling. There's a sort of big spiel I can read out about all the different schools, but you guys have already picked them and traits. So I don't think I have to necessarily go through that. Let's start going through. Does everybody have the Google Doc I sent you open?
Yes.
Almost all the questions answered.
You're a dick.
I've gotten some of them answered.
And he obviously needs to be tweaked, but I think these are...
I have not started it yet.
Me neither.
So obviously the first things are just names. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves at the end, or go through some of these things piece by piece?
I haven't actually decided on my cog yet, so yeah, if we could go this piece by piece.
Sure thing.
Is the
I
name?
figured out my cog like a few hours ago.
What is rank?
Rank is 1. It is the number of times you die.
Okay.
Okay.
And
I still
lessons.
Name.
Hmm?
I still need to figure out Phoenix's name.
Yeah, I also did.
Yeah. What are our lessons?
Your lessons are they're all of your cards that stay out in front of you here. They are your fighting styles.
Okay.
Yeah, all of that stuff. You don't need to list them right now. That's just kind of on the boilerplate, and for easy reference. Because parts of your character are in fact the level 1 trait cards in your deck, and they will come up because in order to use them, you have to pitch to me why they're useful in the situation.
Okay.
The name at the top, is that our character's full name, or is that our name?
Name at the top is your character's name, yes.
Okay.
For dying.
Didn't think about that.
You can give it time. That one, I would like a cog tonight. You don't need your pre-death name tonight.
Do we have examples of cogs? There they are.
Yes.
Isn't it like justice, vengeance, purity, piety, crap like that?
I'm gonna find the actual large list of examples in the book and start reading them off.
Okay.
So since there's a question about which ringmate we formed an attachment to, are we doing any character introductions tonight?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So yeah. That is which other member. So I'm not sure if we will get to a full system demo. But you guys will have had about a week to train together and get to know each other before your first mission. So you will have had time to get to know each other a little, which is the other reason that I want you guys to have a chance to IC chat. Right, this is what the index is for. Page 40 PDF. Here we go. Sample. I'm just gonna read the whole thing out so that you guys know exactly what's going on here. Cogs, your first life ended when you died. Big shock. Phoenixes can't hold property or lead normal lives. From now until you die your final death, it is your duty to serve with your wing and protect the innocent. To symbolize this, each Phoenix takes a new name when they're reborn. This is your cognomen, traditionally shortened to Cog. A cog is typically descriptive, often related to your school, so Ash for a fiery phoenix elemental, Shepherd a protective durant, Wolf a predatory bitter. However, nothing prevents you from having a traditional name as a cog. It simply can't be the name you had in your first life. This has been true since the Dawn Legion. Savant, Aegis, Justice are cogs, not birth names. Sample cogs: Aegis, Anima, Ash, Badger, Bastion, Birch, Blaze, Bloom, Book, Cage, Cat, Cinder. I can keep going if you guys want.
Yes. Don't stop.
Okay. Cage, Cat, Cinder, Dawn, Drake, Dusk, Elegy, Ember, Faith, Forgotten, Genial, Grim, Hearth, Honor, Hope, Joy, Judge, Justice, Kestrel, Lock, Mercy, Nemesis, Noose, Omen, Page, Pierce, Preacher, Quill, Reaper, Regret, Royal, Rue, Rust, Savant, Shadow, Shepherd, Slate, Smith, Summer, Steel, Stone, Storm, Swift, Teacher, Thorn, Verity, Willow, Winter, Zephyr.
Rex.
Which one of you is taking Willity?
Will be a wallaby.
I guess the good thing is there's approximately a 0% chance anyone will take the name I took.
Wash, can you take a look at the thing I wrote and tell me if any of those three resonate well?
Yeah, any of those three work.
Damn it. That helps.
Oh, that resonates specifically well. None of them work particularly better than others for things I have planned.
Okay, I will keep thinking, and hopefully I will settle on one by the time we end all these questions.
I am a fan of the ones I am seeing.
I'm putting down options right now as I think about them.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm also thinking.
all good. Let me know when you guys are ready to move on.
What's the difference between traits and lessons?
Traits are the cards that go in your deck. Lessons are the cards that you unlock that stay outside of it.
I forget what I had in there.
This was the other reason I wanted to have Tabletop Simulator for this.
Gotcha. This is also great for if we somehow lose Tabletop Simulator, we can easily rebuild our decks.
Mm-hmm. Ziggy, I like your pre-death name.
Thank you.
It's very Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, I actually didn't think of that. You know what? I'll just do this. There we go.
And you guys can talk about these answers as much or as little as you want with each other, or save them for the big introductions.
I'll wait for introductions.
Yeah, I think for the
I don't know.
one.
Wash, do you have a feeling for the 4 names that I've looked at so far for cogs?
Let me take a look. I've got all 4 of your sheets open, but I can only look at one of them at a time right now. Oh wait, I can fix that. I'll do it in a minute.
Why don't you have 4 monitors, Wash?
Yeah, Wash.
serious. Or you have a house. Why don't you have a 4K monitor that takes up your entire wall?
Okay.
Wait, what does this word mean?
Because then if you want a game on your 4K monitor, you have to have a GPU that can actually drive it.
You're not wrong.
Let's see. Can I get... How many of these can I get at one time?
I might have the name because I've never heard this word before.
Seems legit.
Taking a minute to set up all of these. I can only watch 3 of them at once.
Actually,
All right. Everybody has at least an idea. Izzy, I added one, but it's a meta internet joke.
Yeah, No.
I know how much you hate those.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody, I think everybody knows what everybody else's school is.
Mm-hmm.
You guys feel free to talk about what your home region is. It is mostly for RP ideas and some bonuses to things you know from being from there. If you haven't seen it yet, the end of each doc is a block copy pasted directly from the book of questions to ask if you're from that region. Once again, this stuff isn't necessarily required for you to read to go through and answer, but it is good for coming up with ideas and making sure your character kind of fits with the world, which is, I'm trying to play this one straight until I get to know it better.
So I am from Ilonia, which is as Nick put it when I mentioned it earlier, kind of the Rome area.
Mm-hmm. Lots and lots of fertile fields full of wines and food. They are the most populous region, most arable land. They used to be run by a bunch of tyrannical gods called Talu, who are still part of the Empire society, and they all run significant economic centers from their urban centers. They are justifiably proud of the Empire's achievements. Some would say arrogant. That, again, depends on the individual in question.
Okay. My home nation is Scavia.
Land of Fey bargains and masks, a desert tundra with two major inhabitants, roving clans who go through the tundra and hunt in the forests, though they do not stay there because they do not wish to offend those who do live there, and cities who are all centered around either ancient unknowable relics or the very small amount of usable farmland in the region. They have a lot of history with the Fey folk, and hence the masks. Do not show your face when you're making deals.
Funnily enough, I suppose I chose for region the Shadowvar, therefore kind of everywhere, but spent a lot of time in Scavia.
That is very true. Shadowvar are they are nomadic. The Talu, in creating their initial empire, destroyed and stole the Shadowvar's original home area. The specific Talu group who did it was destroyed, and history is unclear on the answer. Ever since then, the Shadowvar themselves have been nomadic and moving around a lot. They have interesting customs around songs, and they have family tattoos.
Ziggy.
Sorry? Sorry, I'm from Pyre.
Pyre is the volcanic island in the middle of the map. It is, for the most part, uninhabited, aside from Dawn Command, recently Phoenixes, and their support staff. It's about 100 plus people living there, and also some monks or orders who basically came out to continue worshipping Phoenixes after they disappeared. Whether or not they are the only smart ones or the crazy ones are up for debate.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that was everybody. So I see you're all working on answering some of the questions. Do any of you guys want to talk about those, or should I just give you a minute?
I need a minute.
Could you go more over the spiritual trials of becoming a phoenix?
Yeah. Hold on, let me make sure I have the correct page open so that I don't screw it up. So, we haven't gone over major metaphysics, but as far as most people are concerned, the world of Dela is in fact not the truest world there is. It is the sunlit world, the daylit world. Above it, the origin of souls and life is the sun and the daylight. Things shift from there down to the daylit world. Below that is the dusk. The dusk is where fallen are from. It is where magic and many, many other things originate. And below it is the abyss of darkness and oblivion. The teachings of the dawn dictate that your soul originates in daylight, comes down to the daylit world. When you die, you pass through the dusk into the abyss and come back someday as a reincarnation. The crucibles, the flame, are part of the flames that power your reincarnation cycle. They exist in dusk. When you died, your soul was falling through and was sucked in. There is more to it than that, but... When you die, you go back to your crucible, so you physically go to the dusk. Once you are there, you go through trials. Your first deaths would have been your most intense, as in addition to learning any specialties that you didn't have when you were alive, your initial lessons, gaining your powers, all of that stuff, you are also drilled in the new language of Pyrean, which only Phoenixes can speak. This is partially so that you guys can talk without having to worry about being overheard by anybody, which actually indirectly answers one of the questions you had earlier about how much talking people can do in the game. You also get to learn Phoenix Dawn Command's customs. It will be made clear to you, and there is somewhat of a screening process. People who want to become Phoenixes just for personal power, greed, etc., don't make it past the first set of trials.
Mm-hmm.
The nature of the trials themselves varies depending on what type of Phoenix you are. Your flame contains fragments of the souls of all Phoenixes who were bound to it before you. They become your mentors. They either help you get through your trials, drill you on them as a drill sergeant, or other things. All of you had a mentor. If you want, you can talk to me about what kind of aspects you want them to have, and I can fill in some gaps, and the kind of crucible challenges you go through. Unless you are Izzy. There's don't have mentors.
Should we have a question under lessons for who is your mentor and what are they about then?
I would, if you guys would like to, please go ahead. It isn't one of the required things. So these questions were also geared towards if there was a sentence or two for an answer, if you wanted to sit down, learn the system, and get going in one go.
Mm-hmm.
But the Crucible is at the center of a flame, and depending on what exactly is happening when you're in there, you might see howling, thrashing spirits outside in the dusk if you can find a window. In theory, it is completely safe, but if somebody wants to have interactions with other things in their Crucible, it has happened.
Interactions with other things?
Yes. It is also possible to do some interesting things. There are Phoenixes who have dragged things back to their crucibles with them when they died, and that led to a whole can of worms. So to be clear, the trials you went through on your first death, if you didn't have your specialties at the beginning when you were alive, you developed them in the Crucible.
Gotcha.
That is why they're fairly standardized. Also, if you guys want to switch out specialties, I am willing to let you guys switch out one each, but there's a lot of constraints on that. It is also fairly explicit in the martial section that some of the broader specialties that belong to the devoted and forceful phoenixes are brought on purpose. It is a balance thing.
I'm sure I'll figure out how to use all four of mine.
I'm actually trying to decide whether or not I would want to trade out acrobatics. I'm still uncertain.
By the way, your wing is decided not by any particular person. The flames are networked in groups of 6, and you were the 6 that wing chose.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have lots of abilities that only trigger off of wingmates, so there's a whole bunch of reasons that you guys are grouped together.
Mm-hmm. I'm fixing the formatting of this sheet because it offends me. Yes,
That is absolutely fine. I copy-pasted everything in. Have at it, anonymous blobfish.
Yeah, haha. Okay.
You are the blobbiest of fish.
Well, you know how Google Docs gives you an anonymous blank. Yeah.
Oh. Right.
Yep.
Okay.
To normal.
Wash, could you take a look at my talent thing? Because we never actually decided on that.
Yeah, sure. We did talk about that, and I would like it to be more singular.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't give you an answer because I was burnt out when we were having the conversation.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's I wanted a final call now because
I understand.
yeah.
Watch, is mine adequately described for what we were talking about?
Oh, ooh. No, not all my windows. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, it works. I'm curious how you're going to use it.
I've got some ideas.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wash, how about this?
So it would specifically be these.
I wanted it to be that. But
It's one or the other.
it's one or the other.
It is a singular tool. That's part of why I'm saying no to this.
Yeah. You know what?
I am not giving you an infinite toolkit to pull things out of as you see fit.
I'll go with this one because it's the stupidest option then.
Wash. I can get trade acrobatics for performance for skills.
If you would like to, you can. I will say acrobatics is super goddamn useful.
Yeah, I'm trying. You know, actually, fuck it. Resolve actually works well enough for the type of social things I'd probably do. And I could use Traveler to justify some of performance. I know stories from many different lands and the type of music.
Yeah, I need to grab the big old list of specialties and examples.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can you tell one of the two writers of this really liked Exalted?
I can. It's pretty damn obvious. Question for Mentor. Are they usually still active or not active?
They are someone who had 7 lives and they're done.
Okay. They have retired.
Forcibly, yes.
Yep.
I will also say when you guys die, again, and we determine what what school you pick abilities up from, you get a mentor from that school. So it is entirely possible that the mentor you describe may end up in another character's Crucible.
Oh, I'm gonna have fun with this one. Let me get some dice.
Wow.
Dice are fun, yo.
Until I am addressed, I'm going to take a few minutes and start taking a look at what everybody's put down.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with this answer. What is the person, place, or thing that is most important to you?
Easy answer for me. So fucking easy.
It's really hard for me.
Yeah, it was easy for me as well.
You suck.
1, 2.
Oh god, there's more questions!
The other ones are the origin specific ones are optional. Izzy, they're plot seeds if you want to be more in tune with the world.
Yeah.
Also, to be clearer about the second question, because there's another way to say it. You get to come back, but why would you enlist?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be fighting and in pain, and you're gonna have to die a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Gah!
Okay. This formatting offends me, Wash.
I copy pasted it. Feel free to change it.
Okay. Answer
Wash,
easy.
Dan also offends me. Did you copy paste him too?
I mean, not this time. That's funnier to me because of his Phoenix name.
Well, I'll find that out by the end of this.
I'd be concerned.
No, just thinking about reboot.
Mm-hmm. He is a good pupper.
He is.
Oh, your frisket?
By what now?
It's the reboot dog's name.
Okay. You need to figure out which of us I'm actually attached to after this. That'll be an
Well, yeah,
interesting-
you guys get to you will get to introduce yourselves before you do that. Before you answer that. Sorry, I'm on Dan, and then I've got Izzy left, and yeah, everything I'm seeing so far, I am loving. This is great.
You can't love all of it. You have to hate one of us a little bit more than the others.
Izzy, I said you're last.
Oh.
Get shit on.
I said I hadn't gotten to yours yet.
I'm terrible. I'll take a lap.
I think I'm done. Give or take.
I very much like your description, Ziggy.
Thank you.
And Yeah, I'm excited to see that whole thing play out.
Yeet.
I do have to modify the backstories of the world slightly to fix it, but it's a way that I like.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I'm going to check one thing in backstory for how things work.
Because the marshals that do exist, who are the highest ranking currently living phoenixes, generally shield Pyre, but they needed a reason to start doing it again, so there we go.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep. I enjoy your greatest fear, Dan.
Yeah, it seemed appropriate.
Short but sweet.
Okay. Outside of the one that I need to talk to other programmers for, I think I'm all set, Wash. I'm still figuring out which name is best. Do you have an opinion between 1, 2, 3, and 4?
No, they're all awesome. And I'm just gonna skim your description before I do Izzy. Dan, you are good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure this is the most engaging part of the recording.
Oh, yes, it will be.
Very quick, someone click the table flip button to see if he didn't disable it.
Table flipping! I'm gonna do it. I hope you saved.
I have not.
You should do
Please
that.
don't.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is he? Why? No! Oops.
I'm gonna throw things at Izzy from across the table.
Alright, here we go.
There we go. That I needed to actually fix. That is another important thing. All right.
This entire group is the embodiment of kids lighten up a little. I love it. Exactly as intended.
I don't know what that
Okay.
means. What does that even mean?
It's a meme format based on The Simpsons.
It means that we're all kind of depressing.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
We've all-
can we take bets as to
Dying a lot.
can we take bets as to who's the most depressing? I'm actually curious now.
That's a ooh.
You're all different flavors of depressing.
I'm gonna go with Ziggy.
Here, actually, I have a thought. What we should do, you can't vote for yourself. Everyone gets just your cog name, and we vote based off of that and extrapolating from who wrote each thing.
Shit, I haven't actually finished picking my cog name yet.
All right, no, I think I'm gonna pick that as my cog name.
Hold on a minute. Let me.
All right, I probably should do that.
I'm honestly surprised that I was the only one who picked a cog name before.
I've got like 5 options that I'm floating between.
Well, I was throwing that one at everybody's face a lot because I figured that might happen. We all know that names are either the first or last thing to get done in any character.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, during the entire run-up, I was trying to emphasize, think about a talon, a uniform, and a cog, because They're going to be very iconic for your wing.
Mhm.
Also, tech level I was assuming was still Roman for like uniform.
It's a little lower, but Phoenix Dawn Command specifically has a slightly higher one. They are also the only. So, fun thing for you intellect phoenixes out there, you guys get to know candle code. So every area has a set of 4 candles made out of phoenix ash, which is only obtainable when you basically have the body of a phoenix's seventh death. And they're effectively quantum locked, so they are lit and unlit in groups, and they can be used to communicate instantaneously with Ares.
Mm-hmm.
This is the fastest communication in the setting. The second fastest is carrier pigeons, and most of them are dying to things in the sky right now.
Hold on a minute.
So I don't need a specific rundown from everybody, but I'm realizing in general, your uniform will have your school symbol on it somewhere, and your talon will have the Dawn Command symbol on it somewhere. It doesn't have to be like prominent. It might be like floating in the surface of something, or on the inside of something. But like, it will be around.
You said your
Uniform has school. Talon has the Phoenix Dawn Command symbol, which is the back of your cards. Which
Okay.
is
Okay, Wash, can you help me pick one of these names? I just added 3 more.
just give me a minute to finish reading the rest of your stuff.
Okay.
Interesting.
Which part are you at right now?
Page 2.
Okay. Yeah, enjoy.
Okay, let's see. Not these two.
Okay. I kind of like the second to last one at this point. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, what do you think? Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm going with.
Well, now you're also metaing trying to win the competition.
Actually, no, I was literally looking up in thesaurus equals and opposites, and that one just stuck out because it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. Okay. I like it.
Also, when you guys are all done, because I am very happy with everything you've all put in. I'm very excited for this. I've given you each a die to roll to see who has to go first. I mean, gets to go first.
I have rolled an 8.
Wait, aren't you going to say all of our cog names? And
is
we have
high
to...
or low better?
Aren't you going to say all of our cog names first, and we have to figure out...
Nope.
No,
I have rolled a 4.
I rolled a 16.
4, 16, and what you get, Ziggy?
Oh, sorry. What am I rolling?
It's all good.
Just roll
I
your
dropped a
D20.
D20 in front of you. It's just to see whose introduction is first, but we're going to do cog names first anyway.
Oh, okay. Roll it. That's a 20. Okay. Great.
Ziggy, would you like to go first or last?
I'll go last.
Okay. So we're going lowest first.
Are you going to say all of our cogs and we have to vote first before we know who's who?
Yeah, sure, let's do that. So who got the lowest? I think it was Dan. No, it
No,
was
Nick got the lowest.
Nick got the lowest.
All
Nick,
right.
what is your cog?
Cog is hunter.
Very nice. Very nice. Dan.
I am bit.
BIT?
B-I-T.
Amused by copying a bit. Izzy.
I am pout.
And Ziggy.
I am Chronicle.
Hmm.
Okay, who do I think is most depressing?
Bit the shrouded, pout the bitter, hunter the forceful, or chronicle the devoted.
Fucking pout the bitter. God damn it. I think I'm gonna vote for Izzy.
I don't want to vote for Izzy, but I feel like I might have to vote for Izzy.
You can vote with checkers so that they're not.
Yeah, I will put my checker on Izzy's side.
Yeah, I think I have to vote for Izzy. I'm gonna.
Ziggy?
I mean, I think I'm next from highest.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm voting for chronic.
My checker now has my color on his deck.
You're voting
Actually,
for Chronicle?
Are we putting checkers there?
Yeah. Dan's checker also has his color.
Why can't my checker be changed? There we go.
Yeah.
Fixed.
Yeah, I'm voting. I'm voting for Chronicle because that just sounds like a lonely name.
Gee.
I'm going to let you guys keep those around because I have a feeling they'll be useful.
Yeah.
That's fair. We should probably get Izzy.
Why does Ziggy
choose
get
your
two
color?
checkers? Not fair.
Because I'm the blue name. With the blue bag. Just because nobody else has, I'm going to say Dan.
Hey. Wait, that's Ziggy's bag.
Yeah, that's my bag.
All right. Well, Izzy has clearly won the competition of who is most depressing by their cog.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Although, by that particular metric, he had the unfair advantage of being the group's bitter.
It's
Yeah.
true.
True.
And
That
also
is
having the
true.
funniest name.
Out, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so when you are each first reborn, after going through a subjectively very different amount of time for each of you. This should be on the sheet. How long ago did each of you die?
Whatever it was we talked about, because I forgot the timeline there. Watch.
What's the current?
I think you were the longest time ago, Izzy.
Okay.
The game starts at I think 590 something
It's
IC, which is the
594.
number of years the Empire has existed.
594.
Is it 594's current year?
Yes, the last 3 years the Dread have been attacking.
Wonderful.
the
I know
Civil War
exactly
was-
how long I've died. I've been dead.
Let's see.
I would have died approximately 5 years ago.
Okay,
How long have the Dread been attacking for? 3 years, you said?
3 years.
I died probably 6 months after they started attacking.
Okay.
Izzy, I think you're probably near the beginning of that calendar. You're probably plus or minus 10 years. Like from year 0.
Okay. So year 10.
Damn,
You're a bitter, it'll become a you're bitter. I have a reason why, but
That's
it'll
fine.
come out.
That's
later.
fine. That's fine. It fits with what I gave you. That I
Yeah.
didn't read the full timeline because you told me not to.
Oh, you can read the book timeline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. I was saying I didn't want to reveal things from the non-public timeline.
When did I die?
Ziggy, based on your backstory,
Yeah, I
probably 4 to 5 years ago.
4 to 5? No,
Yes.
it wouldn't be
I said it's
Uh,
been public for 3 years.
public for 3 years.
The Dread have been attacking the Empire for 3 years.
Oh, so wait, why 4 or 5 years ago?
Because of when you wrote for when you died. Or what you died doing.
Right. I see. I might need to change my story then, because that's incongruous with the rest of my backstory.
Dan, when did you die?
About 5 years ago.
You know what? No, that probably works fine. Yeah, okay, 5 years ago works.
Yeah. Okay. Izzy.
And Nick, you died 6 months ago?
No, I died 6 months into the Dread appeared, so 2.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I also realized I have more questions to answer in backstory, and now I'm working on those.
Well, I was going to move on to you guys getting to introduce yourselves pretty soon. I'm going to give you guys an extra minute or two to compose any description stuff you want to do. I'm going to be allowing you all to reveal yourselves in order of votes you got plus die roll. So it's going to be Izzy followed by
Dan,
Nick.
followed by Ziggy, and I have a roll-off.
Ziggy didn't get... Oh, wait, no, Ziggy did get a vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, Ziggy and I each got 1 vote.
Yeah. I am the one who no one thinks is very sad.
Mhm.
All right, so I guess Ziggy
Unless
and
you
I can do a
guys
roll
all
on
want to
number.
reverse it so Izzy can go last, but...
Let's go from least to most depressing.
Yeah, we will see. We can actually see if we're correct in how right these analyses are.
That works.
Mhm.
Actually,
Yeah.
Ziggy and I then can roll off since we each got 1 vote.
Sure.
I rolled a 19.
I rolled a 4.
So Nick, Ziggy, Dan, me.
That works.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I have to go first?
Yeah, because you
Yep.
got no votes.
So, Nick, a very small amount of preface, and also if anybody needs a minute to compose, please take it now. But each of you will have made it to the end of your crucible, perhaps finally making it away from your mentor, or thanks to their intercession and lessons, the end of your long, painful track. Your training is complete. You stand at a doorway filled with light and step forward and feel your entire body consumed by flame. As you burn away, feeling begins to come back to you as you step out of the imperial flame in the center of the known world on the island of Pyre, the source of all Phoenix's power and the device by which Phoenixes can be deployed instantaneously to Ares by the Elemental Marshal. All of this was known or taught to you in the Crucible. It is an incredibly painful process every time you die, and you come out as a cloud of ash and slowly constitute into Nick.
Okay. So, description here. It doesn't take all that long to constitute, for Hunter is still quite slight, small, and wiry, much as she was in life. That's the first thing you'll notice is the shine of the silver scale. Simple armor, light armor, the sort that you wear while traveling. You don't know whether or not danger is between you and your next destination. Dark hair, fairly tan skin, but lit up with tattoos of white and silver that go from that cover most of her face and all the way down to the neck, and everyone can see they extend to any bit of skin that is visible, but there's not that much. A lot is either silver scales or white fur. In her hands is an Otgeir, a spear meant to pierce the thickest hides and strongest armor. It's a weapon from Scavia, but it's carved in a peculiar way. Very same tattoos that she has are the patterns that form all of the carvings on the shaft, the filigree of the broad point of the spear, and the beak of the axe that comes from it. So, there's one other thing. Dangling from the sash at her waist that falls right next to the symbol of the Forceful is a beautiful silver fox mask, or, well, not a mask, it's half of one. Shattered. The center edge where the missing part is jagged, with spikes that glisten no matter how dark it is.
Neat.
All right, and as you emerge, a bell rings out, and attendants, who, as you know, are as you learned in the Crucible, itinerants, members of Dawn Command, support staff, and people studying to be flame keepers, the only people who can ignite further Ares. And if the fire goes out or they die, the other goes with it. They root forward and immediately ask your cog and school and begin recording it.
And go by Hunter now. Learn the ways of the Forceful. Just looks down at the weapon. Maybe this time I'll use it properly.
I will go into who else you guys get to meet once everybody's had a chance to introduce themselves, because the Elemental Marshal is the one who will come down fairly quickly to greet all of you and get you not oriented. That process has been handled by the Crucible, but it has a hand in identifying whether your wing is around or not. And you are the first to be reborn, Nick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who's up next?
I believe Ziggy rolled
Yeah, it was
lower.
me. Yep, it was me. Yeah, so, physical description first.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. My character is an older man, about 50s or 60s, probably closer to 60s, who wears an extremely long white beard and wears very humble-looking dirt and ash-colored robes. He generally doesn't look all that, clean or kempt. With the exception of two very prominent things that are on his person. The first, going across his robes, is a very large sash. And not only is this sash immaculately clean, it is also a tapestry. It shows, for those that have the knowledge of knowing such, a complete tapestry history of the Phoenixes, of the Dawn Command, their rise and fall, and their return. It's an immaculate piece of clothing that seems to never grow dirty or tarnished. The other thing that he carries around is a large staff, most of which is just kind of tall, thin, gnarled wood, but on top of which, kind of clutched at the top, looks to be a mirrored prism. It's sort of a triangular, think kind of like Pink Floyd-ish, but it carries like it always seems to glow with this sort of low light. And looking at it, no matter what angle you look at it from, you always see your own face reflected in it. Yeah, that's about it. In terms of name, as already said, his name is Chronicle.
You are met not by Cinder, but by a excited other Phoenix named Mercy, who is another devoted. Ooh, whoops. Yeah, these are some other things that'll come up in a minute. But she will greet you and be excited. She's a little bit of a chatterbox. She is part of a wing that's been around for a while. We'll talk about that in the future, but she died on the mission and just came back this morning into the Imperial Flame.
Newcomer, eh? Yeah. Let's hope that you do us proud.
Well, I could say the same to you.
I suppose that's true, yes.
Well, welcome to the circus.
It's going to be, certainly will be quite the show.
You seem familiar. Are you...
Well,
Strange. That doesn't happen much.
do I get the same feeling from her?
No.
I suppose I just have one of those faces.
Well, let's get going. I can feel one of your wingmates nearby. And she will take you to Hunter. In the meantime, we're going to move on to Dan.
All right. So I guess Bit will step out of the flame third. He is a slight young man, maybe 15, 16 looking. Kind of short of stature. He wears a sleeveless white tunic. You can see that his arms are, while thin, seem to be fairly well muscled and defined. On the front of the tunic, kind of between the folds of the sash, you can make out the symbol of the Dawn Guard. On the back of the kind of in a pale blue thread. On the back, woven the same way, is the symbol of the Shrouded. He himself, like I said, is somewhat short. White hair with just kind of a slight tinge of blue and very soft features and pale violet eyes. Kind of dark blue pants and boots that only make the softest of sounds when he walks. Over his shoulder is draped a cloak of the same white material as the rest of his clothes, and tucked under his other arm is his talon, which is kind of a strange object. Can't really explain what it is, and even Bit couldn't really tell you if he tried. But it's a large orb made almost entirely of flaming orange, like flame-colored orange jade. And between the panels of jade are these thin black lines of darkest obsidian. The strange thing, though, is that if you were to look away from Bit, you'd almost forget that entire description. His presence just kind of rolls off the mind as soon as you look away.
No one greets you when you exit at first. A bell tolls, but at least you instantaneously hide instinctively, and the adepts on duty can't seem to understand what's happening until you are tapped on the shoulder by the shrouded marshal. She goes by the name of Winter.
Do I know the name offhand?
You wouldn't, but she'll tell you pretty fast.
Oh, yes.
Front and center, Phoenix.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. We could use more Strouted. You will be taken very quickly and as stealthily as you wish. In fact, Winter will give you the challenge of testing your abilities by being seen and by as few people as possible on your way to your wingmates, where she will tell you that they are in the training yard, waiting for waiting for some more of the monks to show up and let everybody demonstrate abilities on them, which is not an enviable task. It's more of a discipline, but you won't have any trouble with the mortals. Watch out for the other phoenixes waiting.
Of course. Bit will gladly take the excuse to not be noticed by anyone on the way.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Izzy.
Okay, so emerging from the flame is this oddly lanky, almost pear-shaped individual. Got this weird kind of bulbous belly that seems just to go all around him in every direction. At some point, he had a fine white shirt on with a very colorful ascot, almost representing that of someone who would come from nobility or royalty almost. But both the shirt and the ascot, in fact, most of his entire apparel, are just very faded. In fact, outside of the shirt and the ascot and a little flower on his lapel, the rest of his clothes seem very odd and mismatched. His pants, which very much hug his rotund hips, are held up by a pair of suspenders and are this odd, murky, kind of like brown and plaid combination. As he walks forward, he almost trips over his own feet. His shoes seem to be oversized. Being from Scavia, traditionally they would wear masks, but it doesn't seem that he has taken to that tradition. Rather has gone ahead and come back with face paint on. Completely white face with blue markings over his eyes and the bitter symbol along his cheek, and red where you would normally expect a beard and mustache to be. His hair is red, somewhat curly, and the thing about him is, as you look at this individual, as he kind of slinks forward, all of his colors just seem to be muted. Like at one point they were very vibrant and lush, and either something happened in life or going through the Crucible has just seemed to like put a tarnish on everything that was colorful about this individual. He's going to look around, look left, look right.
No one's there.
Not much of a party. He's going to reach up, grab both sides of his nose and squeeze, and it's going to honk as he pulls a rubber chicken out of one of his pockets.
Oh, boy.
I saw that, Nick.
We can throw dice at each other here. It's no problem.
It's true.
If you've decided to play the comedic relief, then I shall accept my own thing.
Izzy, you are not greeted by anyone. You...
No, that's fine. I'm not important.
You seem to have been reborn during a changing of the some type of lunch break or changing of the guard or something. No, you know what? This is better. The adept in question who is on duty is clearly exhausted, bags under his eyes. There's a bruise on his arm, and he is asleep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go over next to him and just like also take a nap.
Okay.
I don't care. He's just going to wake up to see this very strange individual like napping right next to him.
Yep. Although you will be identifiable as a phoenix because of your talon and uniform.
Yep.
Yep. There are no bidders here. There are no bidder marshals to guide you or help you.
Of course.
So, for those of you who don't know, bidder phoenixes are new. They did not exist in any historical records that you all have access to, and nobody knows quite what they're about. And you guys wouldn't necessarily know this right now, but they don't have mentors in the Crucible. Izzy, once you are woken up and assessed by Cinder, who is the marshal who is most often at the Airy, at the Grand Airy at the center, mostly because he is the only living phoenix who can use the Imperial Flame to send out strike teams. He will talk to you, welcome you, and his eyes will widen a little bit, and he will take you to the rest of your wing. You may all interact in character. If you we are at this point at a point where you guys can just talk to each other, get to know each other. Like I said, you'll have a week or two before your actual first mission, but no more, because that is all that can be spared. But they are cognizant of you guys should have a chance to work together before you can go out into the field. You've been through basic, and now you're being assigned to your first squad. If you guys would like a combat demo, the Durant Phoenix Marshal is willing to go easy on you and do a sparring session.
Who are they taking into a sparring session?
In character, Hunter is going to ask to do that, but I've already gotten the combat demo out of character, so other people can walk in on that happening.
Y'all have had the very basic combat demo, but regardless, you all have a chance to talk to each other. You were reborn a day or two apart each in the order that you emerged from the flame. So,
Not had any combat demo yet.
Do you want to walk in on me doing a combat demo?
Sure.
okay. Mechanics 101. I guess I will just jump in on that then. Phoenix Dawn Command. There are not dice, there are cards. When it is your turn, there is a torch that will have environmental elements that is passed around. Enemies go... Their initiative is a speed-based ability that is every X player turns, they will get to activate. Most enemies, this one in particular is speed 2. I won't normally tell you what the speed is, but that means 2 of you can choose to go before he does. And then he will get to activate. On your turn, you can make a number of spreads. Spreads are playing cards for an effect. There are 3 types of spreads. There are skill spreads, which are your basic garden variety skill check. There are attack spreads, and there are defense spreads. All of you have one starting fighting style. It determines what you can use for attack and defense, what suits, and how many cards.
Mm-hmm. I think
Wow.
just keep your cards in your hand, Ziggy.
Hmm?
I think just keep cards in like the...
No, I'm trying to shuffle these again because this deck is not shuffled.
You
but
can just right-click and hit shuffle, no?
Yeah, you need to get them back in the deck.
Yeah, I need to get them back in the deck
Do you want
first.
me to help you with that?
Yeah, sure. Oh yeah, flip them first.
One of the problems is they're... Yeah. They need to be
Okay.
the same facing as the deck.
Okay, there we go. Now,
So, continuing with the very abridged combat demo, because I want to give you guys a chance to interact a little bit. So, when it is your turn, you may make as many spreads as you have cards for. Each spread, like I said, is capped. So just looking at... Nick, you said you were starting this party off. So, your combat style. So, as you guys die more, you will get more of these. They're like martial arts stances. At the beginning of your turn, you choose what combat style you're in, and then you're stuck in it until your next turn starts. Every turn, you get to decide who goes next. Stop it. Although every player has to go once before a cycle is over, and you can go again. For example, Nick's combat style is Flowing Force. He can play Strength or Grace cards on attacks, and he has some special abilities for that. So maximum of 2 cards in each attack. Your enemies will have a defense value and health levels. Their defense gets subtracted from every attack. You total up your card's strength. So if you attack something with a defense of 4 and your cards total, say, 9, the first 4 get subtracted, you have 5 damage. There are then health levels with different numerical values. The leftover damage is totaled up, and each point of damage can take... you total it up, and they each take down health levels equal to the amount of damage done. So if this guy had... to continue this example, if the thing you were attacking had 4 defense, 2 health levels, and a level 4 health level, you could, with your 5 remaining damage, take away the level 4 health level or 2 level 2 health levels. Everybody following so far?
Mm-hmm.
I'm following. Does that say his defense is 12?
It's a Durant Phoenix, yes.
Okay. Well,
you guys will generally know the defense of your target. A lot of the time, you will also know their health level values. There is also a mechanic called brutal damage, in which case the number of health level wounds you inflict rounds up instead of down. To continue the example, if something has a defense of 4 and a level 2 health level, you need to do at least 6 damage in one hit to actually deal it wounds. A single wound is enough to kill a normal person. You each start with 5 wounds. Sorry, 5 health levels.
Clarifying question for my own things.
Yes.
Is a successful attack an attack that is higher than defense?
Yes. For example, if you have effects that trigger on hit, you only have to beat defense.
Mostly, I believe I am incapable of actually doing anything to him.
I did say it was the Marshal. I didn't want to just pull out the Imperial Army again. They are the weakest enemy.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I believe I am actually physically incapable of doing anything.
So, that gets us to the next thing. Trait cards. You will have a limit on the number of cards you can play in any given spread. For skill spreads, it's 3. For attack and defense spreads, I'll get to defense in just a minute. It is, based on your fighting style. Traits that you have in your hand, if you say how you incorporate the trait into your attack, defense, skill, whatever, and you convince me, you can break that cap. You can play as many traits as you can justify to me, and if they are incredibly appropriate, but normally this will only happen with skill checks, I might rule that instead of a 1, they are a 3, a 5, or a trump. A trump is an auto success. 3s and 5s it is higher.
You guess how many traits I have in my hand. Oh no, like I said, I believe my first turn is literally do nothing.
Mm-hmm. Additionally, and finally for the most part, you may spend sparks on skill spreads and attack spreads. You may not spend them on defense. Sparks are a +1 per 1 spent. You get your rank back in sparks every dawn and 1 wound back.
There's no limited number of sparks per thing?
Nope. If you run out of sparks, you die.
Well, okay, I suppose I will start off with this one then.
You will get at least 2 sparks every time you rank up added to your total, sometimes more.
Since we're doing a combat demo against an impossible opponent...
By the way, he did before you started the fight say, "Oh, right, I said I was going to go easy on you." And he will take his large axe, tap it into the ground, and his skin will turn from its normal metally sheen back into normal flesh.
He can do that?
What does that mean?
It means he's not using his wound nullifying things for the fight.
But he's still defense 12.
He is a rank 7 Phoenix, yes.
Yep. Okay. Well, the first bit, having fought several terrifying supernatural things before, is calling on the power of the flames for a simple and kind of basic thrust to one attack spread at 13.
Okay.
Most of this allows me to dump sparks into percussive strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Question: when you have multiple combat styles, do you
pick
choose
one
which
at the
one?
beginning of every turn.
Gotcha.
And you are stuck with it until you go again.
Right.
So, Nick, you're throwing hands.
Oh no, as I said, this is meant to be one of actually testing, all the things learned in the Crucible from a fairly young person.
Mm-hmm. So once again, and this game is about creativity in using your spreads. I am fine with you guys stunting stuff. If you go do something especially great, I may even give you a bonus. For right, yeah. But
Yep.
I am fine with you guys describing how your attacks go over because you know whether or not you will hit based on the defense of your target. I will tell you how much damage you do.
So what the attack is again this fairly small woman against the angels on an axe going, you look substantially tougher than anything I've tried to stab before, and that's saying something. Because
I take it as a compliment.
A lot of things I really shouldn't have.
You'll fit right in here.
Dashes in, but the attack actually is a feint. It is a quick thrust up as if going for the eyes, mostly to provoke any sort of flinch before quick rotation back, quick rotation down to try and slam the blade of the axe into... He's the marshal, he's an ally going for a shoulder, not a terribly lethal thing, but seeing if the armor-piercing weapon can actually do its job. With silvery flames dancing behind the strike.
Okay, you said you got a total of 13?
Yep.
Okay. You do manage to connect. There is a resounding tone as your halberd just smacks into his pauldron. And he doesn't move. He doesn't even seem to react. He just, at first, then he just kind of reaches up and does the brush off your shoulder as if there's rubble on it thing.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. You connected. You'll need to hit a little harder if you want to do lasting damage against some of the foes we face. Who's next?
I've been live.
Oh, wait, sorry. You've got more cards.
My other cards are irrelevant. So, stepping back and taking a little bit more of a defensive posture from that after that.
Okay. You may do skill spreads to do interesting things if you want.
Okay.
Basically,
spread.
you say what you want to do, and I tell you what suits it is.
Okay. Skill spread after that. Acrobatics to dance around him and put the next attack at something that actually has any vulnerability.
Okay. So I would say that I'm going to be extra generous both because he's training and because this is the combat demo. I'm going to say scouting and acrobatics reply to this. So, skill specialties, everybody. Every skill specialty that applies to a skill spread gives you +5 to your total.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going with a +10.
Great, that's 16.
Okay, and skill spreads are max 3 cards.
I'm keeping the last one.
Okay. 16, you said?
Yep.
Okay. You keep darting around him in a bit of a... if you would like to... You do succeed.
And as I said, it is darting around mid-combat, avoiding attacks with as little energy as is needed, which is surprisingly a lot because he's way faster than someone that size should be. Damn it, rank 7. But still, eventually winding up behind him while he has one arm raised, and you know what's really, really unprotected on most people? The armpit.
Okay. Do you highlight this to anybody else, or are you just keeping it in your head? Are you fighting him by yourself, or are your allies helping you?
This would have been day 1, maybe 2, and I'm the first one out. So, who was out second? Ziggy?
Yes.
I'd say Ziggy walks in during the next turn.
Okay. That worked out very nicely. Okay, so, Nick, I'm going to say that you have found a chink in his armor. You're not sure if it's there on purpose or not, if he's testing you, or if, all of that stuff. But I will say that you have found an opening, and you have given him the exposed condition, which means that he has -2 defense.
My next draw is not helpful with that. Well, let's see what happens.
Yes, and you draw up at the end of your turn. You are allowed to discard up to 1 card at the end of your turn before drawing.
Eat. Alright, so, and I have the next turn because his speed was 2?
Well, Ziggy gets the next turn, actually.
Ah.
Okay.
Ziggy, you can tell your wingmate is engaged in battle.
Okay. Has he taken any damage?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay then. For the shared strength abilities, can that happen on other people's turn, or is that on my turn? The second part is on my turn, obviously, but for the first part.
The first part can be on other people's turns, yes.
Okay, great.
I did also kind of skip. You can use traits to boost allies, but you have to say how you are using the trait to help the allies' attack, skill, or defense spread.
Does the trait apply to your allies, or just the value?
It is you using it to give the value to the ally.
Okay.
Gotcha. Guess what I will do. So I'll just kind of stroll in. I'll go. Dear, I wouldn't say I'm much of a fighter, but I suppose if we must, and I'll use my the shining mirror style.
Okay.
I'll use and I'll try to attack him, I guess. So I have to use 3 cards, yeah?
Up to 3 grace cards, yes.
3 grace cards. So I will do 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Thing is, partly just say, we're all fighters now. Whether anyone wished to or not, that's where life stands.
So, Ziggy, you do know you need at least 10 to land a hit on this guy. And yes, I threw a tanky-ass guy at you.
Yeah.
I will also say, peek behind the curtain. There are enemies with low defense, and there's enemies with low defense, high health levels. There's enemies with high defense, low health levels. There's people in the middle with like 1 billion tiny health levels.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I don't have a way of actually damaging him then. So,
Do a skill check to try and add another condition.
sure. Yeah, I'll do that then. Well, I don't have any traits on me though. See. Do you need a trait to do a skill check or no?
No. They break the cap on the number of cards you can play in a specific thing.
Oh, gotcha.
You must pitch to me how you are using that trait, and I have to approve it.
Gotcha. Then I will use a. Let's see. All right, then I'll use. I guess I'll use spirits to.
You cannot use specialties on attacks, unfortunately. Only skills.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, then then I'll just basically use these cards to see if there's to see if I can just sort of debilitate him rather than causing him damage.
Okay. So unfortunately, with a total of
7,
you don't make it through. But a newcomer, excellent. And what is your name? He is now like kind of looking at you and fending off fending off Nick Hunter a bit while greeting you. He does not seem offended in the slightest that you've attacked him.
Chronicle, it's an honor to meet you.
Bastion.
You do your name justice.
I've had a lot of practice. Nick, you would know he's been alive since the Civil War.
Oh, so would I know him as well then?
Yeah, probably. Well, you have definitely heard of him. He hasn't been on Pyre the whole time.
Right. It is indeed a tremendous honor.
It is.
Well, perhaps we should make this make this a little bit more interesting. And he will, so you can finish out your turn, Ziggy. You've got 2 more cards. If you don't have to use them, but
No, I won't.
You can discard one if you want.
Sure, I'll discard one. Actually, no, I'm not going to No, I won't. I'm good.
Okay. At the end of your turn, you draw back up to 5.
Okay.
Well, why don't I show you youngins a little bit of what we can do here? And he will say, so I did not intentionally throw something that neither of you could hit at you. I wasn't sure what kind of things you guys can do at level 1. So he will clang his axe into the ground, and some monks, some of the Dawn itinerants will come onto the field. A group of 20 of them. They are all well armored, and they have training weapons, but these guys are probably much easier to deal with. And defend your commander, and please do not kill any of them if you can help it. So he will summon these guys, and they will form up around him. So, to make this more interesting, you now have the target of the Durant Phoenix. Your new goal is to hit me twice. And so your guys' goal is to hit him and deal at least 1 damage. And he is surrounded by the stand-in as Imperial soldiers. So you guys either have to defeat the Imperial soldiers in order to tag him, or do skill spreads to get around them. And he himself, who wants to be my lovely defense example?
I will be the defense example, because I'm right next to him still.
I was going to vote Dan be the defense example as he shows up and immediately gets punched.
I mean, the thing is, I can also hide at start of combat.
Yes. Oh, shit. So, like I said, normally there's a torch with environmental elements on them. I skipped this bit. So, the environmental elements can each be used once during your turn. If you use them as part of a spread, you get to draw a card. So this is the environmental elements that are here in this training area.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say it goes after you, Nick.
I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm. And this is the perfect time. All right then. Now that I'm well defended, Bastion will walk over to the training dummy, pick it up with one hand, and chuck it at you.
Okay.
This is an attack value of 12. So, enemy attacks. I tell you what their initial attack value is, and you get to make a defense spread. Any remaining amount up to a maximum determined by the... Oh, wow, this has been up the whole time. I hope my mic just got clearer.
It's
Slightly.
So I say here's the attack value they have, and you get to decide how much you want to defend against it. Subtracting it does blocking damage does usually block the amount of damage you will take. Each enemy attack has a multiplier from ×1 to ×4, and a maximum amount of damage it can do. That multiplier gets applied to whatever gets past your defense, and then that leftover damage is applied to you as if you were an enemy with a bunch of level 2 health levels, 5 of them to be exact.
Yep. So the thing is, he's throwing a dummy at someone who he walked away from a crowd where someone was right next to him, is throwing a dummy at someone who's quite small. He has allies in the way of this attack that he probably doesn't want to hit. Using small and quick from the card to play, and I will also play a level 2, so I have 7 base plus any bonus that you feel like I deserve for this.
Do you not have more grace cards to throw in?
I'm limited to 2 defenses.
Yes, but traits break the cap. Small and quick breaks the cap.
Do I get any bonus for small and quick?
It just counts as a 5 in a skill spread. That's its ability.
Unfortunately, I don't have enough to... let me think. Actually, yeah, sure. Let's
you can also use any one card as a grace regardless of its actual suit. Don't forget.
It's true. Let's go up to 10 for this defense.
Okay. So, yeah. That is very effective. He still clips you. Like I said, it was an attack of 12.
Yep. But this is also a counterattack from me.
Oh
10.
boy.
Oh, wait, actually... No, wait. He has... Sorry. 11.
How is it a counterattack?
Because I played a defense and I have Flowing Force combat style. Oh shit, that's a melee attack. It specifies melee attack. I'm sorry. Never mind.
It does. No worries.
Rude.
It's okay. This is why we're running a demo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, defense 10.
Defense 10. Like I said, it was an attack of 12, so 2 damage makes it through. And because your health levels are level 2, you do lose one of them.
Hold on 1 second. I'd like to use my shared strength talent, if that's okay.
All right. How does that work for the plan?
So when a teammate makes a spread, I may discard a card from my hand. I add the value of the card or my rank, whichever is lower, to the spread.
Okay.
So I'll discard.
Who would get us there?
That's the thing. It would raise your defense to 11, and that one damage is not enough to deal a damage to a phoenix. All of your health levels have a value of 2.
Unless it's brutal.
Then I will discard this intellect here.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. You feel a surge of extra speed, Nick, and it basically grazes the back of your head. It
hits my shoulder as I flip over it, but it mostly just accelerates the spin rather than hurting.
Mm-hmm. And Nick, you only draw back up at the end of your turn, so if you use cards to defend, you may not use them during your turn.
I played 2s, sir. I drew cards from my 2s.
Very true. I'm just making sure everyone knows that when you play cards on defense, you won't get them back in time you won't be able to draw back up generally until it's your turn to until you end your turn. Okay, so the Imperial soldiers have their own attacks, but I'm going to say they spent their entire turn walking up to Bastion and getting around him. And Bastion has used his turn. He's going easy on you. I will not use the part where you are stunned for taking a hit from heroic throw.
He didn't take damage.
No, but he hit him.
Hit is different than damage.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. So I don't want to explicitly exclude people from the combat demo, so I will let the rest of you show up if you want.
I would like to. I have fun ideas.
Please do.
few fun ideas.
And
I have bio brick very quickly. I'll be right back.
yes.
Okay, so
And
They-
he did use up the training dummy.
Damn.
so I think most appropriate thing is that the person that was escorting me basically tricks me into going to the combat arena and just kind of shoves me in there.
That's a very shrouded martial move.
So basically, I see who I know. I know instinctually these are my wingmates, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You
So
have a
basically,
mystical connection, and your bond cards and such work with them. So yes.
okay. So I see clearly there's a training fight. There's a bunch of soldiers that are helping with the training fight. So actually, did we have other established environmental effects?
Yes, I put them in Discord.
In Discord. Okay.
I did not fully prepare a torch item for this particular game, but yeah. And there was a training dummy, but it was the most amusing thing to throw.
Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I will kind of act like I am. I mean, I kind of will be nervous, but I'll kind of like shuffle my way into the crowd and use Shadow Dancer to automatically hide myself using that environmental effect at the start of the combat.
All right. Using that one up, but yes, you start hidden.
Okay. Next. Let's see here. Even if I max everything out.
So once again, as a quick reminder, you guys have to get through the his defensive soldiers in order to hit him. This is so that you guys have something that you can generally hit.
That's fair.
But I will also allow you to get around them for an attack with a skill spread if you have a good reason.
That's true. Well, for me, it's pointless to get. I could do that, but the problem is that I literally can't harm him.
He's only
So,
10 right now, but
Yes, he is currently exposed.
okay, I can technically harm him, kind of.
Oh, I also have one more thing. Well, there's a few things that I've forgotten, but we'll get to them as time goes on. Any Phoenix may spend a spark to make a ranged attack with their talon, regardless of what that talon is. You can throw your sword at people.
Okay.
was that a squeak from Izzy?
I think it was a laugh, but it definitely sounded like a squeak.
So if I'm using one of my skill specialties, do I have to use intellect or can I use grace for that?
For a skill spread, you can you may use an intellect card in a skill spread. So what are you actually trying to do? Because the way it works is you tell me what you want to do, and I tell you what suits are valid for that skill spread. Where intellect is relatively self-explanatory, strength is relatively self-explanatory, grace is both social grace, physical finesse, things of that nature.
Okay, so what I want to do is basically pick my way through the crowd and use the kind of cheering and jeering of the crowd to kind of both worry the soldiers and basically use it as a way to find a way through the horde and to the Phoenix. So I would like to use deception and observation for that.
Those were the two I was going to say. Okay.
All right, so what I'm going to do
That gives you
then-
a +10, and you can, in fact, use an intellect.
Okay, so I can use one intellect card for this.
Oh, no, yours is unlimited. Some other people's are 1, but it looks like you may use intellect cards in any skill spread involving your specialties.
Okay, so can I use grace and intellect?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to use...
Although I did say, I would say that it is only grace by default, but because you're a goddamn shrouded, you can use, you can use intellect as well.
Okay, so I'm going to use those two, so it's a total of 15. Because I use 2 specialties plus the 5.
Yes. Your maximum on any skill spread is once again 3 cards plus traits.
That's fine. I only want to use those 2.
Yeah. So 15.
Yep.
We'll just check a thing here.
This is basically to get through the soldiers to be able to make an attack on the Phoenix, or to find an opening. To make
yes.
an attack.
You Ezio your way through them as anybody viewing would see maybe a dark shaped flit in, and then as you pass behind one of the soldiers, you're suddenly wearing very similar armor to them.
Okay.
And this is a wonderful time, thank you, Dan, to highlight the average tiers of success on skill spreads. A 0 to 4 is always a failure. A 5 to 9 is a marginal skill. A 10 to 14 is competent. A 15 to 19 is exceptional. A 20 to 29 is superhuman. And a 30 plus is legendary.
Okay.
There are things you will be expected to make a 30 plus on in this game.
Hopefully not during our first mission, but if we
No.
do, it's time for Dan to sacrifice himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So then for the actual attack. So basically, I actually am not going to be doing this as a. So is there any downside for a ranged attack?
No.
Okay.
If you have, you have to spend a spark if your talent would, if you don't have a normalized way to do it. Basically,
Okay.
it.
So
I don't know how you. Oh wait, no, I remember
Yes,
how
so
yours works now.
Yes. So is that a normal thing? I that's kind of how I intend to use it.
I'm
Mostly.
okay with that, especially with how close you are.
Okay. So what I plan to do then is basically. So he's got like a regular helmet on, right?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like got a chin strap or whatever.
I mean, it's obviously part of his uniform, but yes.
Yes. Okay. So basically, I'm going to weave my way in through the guards, and then when the guards have kind of parted just enough, I'm going to take the jade orb and basically slam it into the ground so that it basically bounces and spikes and hits him right under the chin, and then basically goes flying up into the air. And so to do this, I'm going to use... So Hidden Secrets lets me use any one card as an intellect card, and Shadow Dancer lets me use an extra card in the attack spread as long as I am hidden. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to use these three cards.
I will say you will no longer be hidden after this, but man is...
that's fine. So I'm going to hit him with these 3 cards, so that's a 12.
Mm-hmm. And he is currently exposed, and you are hidden... So currently his defense is 8.
Okay.
Do you have any other traits you would like to add to this, or are you quite satisfied with what you're doing?
Well, I do want to make sure. So I have 1 card left in my hand. That so does attacking end my turn, or can I do other stuff still? Okay.
You may make as many spreads as you have cards for and want to make.
Then I will move forward with just this as is.
Another peek into the future. There are many fights I have planned where you guys will have to make extended skill spreads to actually be so you will be trying to accomplish a cumulative over a bunch of rounds, say 40 to 80 in skill spreads. But every little bit helps, so it's a good way to use your spare cards.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, and so I guess 4 gets through, and then it's however it gets applied.
4 does get through. You deal with 1 of his 8 health levels.
Okay. And then I will use my last card, Grace. During your turn, discard this card to become hidden. So after I've beamed him in the chin, I'll say the ball ricochets off the stands, and I catch it, and then basically, while everyone's reeling from that, I fade back into the crowd.
So much for home court advantage.
And then I'll draw back to 6.
Just gonna, through scouting, briefly meet the eyes of the new person, just nod and smile. Scouting's bullshit, man.
3 on 1 now. He's just gonna kind of crick his neck. All right then, and he will use his Shake It Off, which he has not been using, to get rid of the condition once.
Wait, 3 on 1? Doesn't he have a group of acolytes protecting him?
Yeah, but they're not very much of a threat. He is the scary one here.
So for those who are here for the last combat demo, I believe in 2 rounds of combat, I used the same Imperial Soldiers card for that one, and you guys killed like 8 people.
Yeah.
I killed 8 people on 1 turn.
Yes.
We killed like
I will now say that the Imperial Soldiers, i.e. acolytes, get to go. They have. Let me see. I am willing to turn this card over. for public consumption so that you guys can see kind of what I'm looking at here. So there are 20 of them. Their speed is 4, so they go once every 4 of your guys' turns.
Doesn't that mean one of us would get another action first?
Yes, but I'm vamping.
Okay.
I'm cheating slightly for the sake of tutorial, and I'm being very open about it.
Yep.
They get 1 attack for every 5 health levels, so each of you is going to be attacked once. I'm not going to bother doubling up. Except, no, you know what? Dan is hidden.
Yep.
So you know what? Nick and Ziggy, you are each getting attacked once with a power of 8, twice with a power of 8. This is not how this usually works, but we're going with it.
Great. I'm going to do silly things with this that are not actually all that useful to people who are not me.
Remind me, if you don't defend, does all 8 damage count as like wounds or?
So
like
if you guys want, I'm fine with you taking a look at the back of this card. Just so you have a general idea of how the mechanics work. So you see Legion attack, standard melee or ranged attack. Attack 8, damage X1 4. What that means is their attack value is 8, minus whatever you defend with.
Right.
And then after that, they have a maximum of 4 damage they can do. So if you don't block at least 5, it's technically not worth blocking, but you guys wouldn't know that against most enemies.
Okay, so we do not block at least 5.
That all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
When you say don't block at least 5, so for 8, you mean?
So it says attack 8, damage times 1, brackets 4. So that means the attack value I tell you guys is 8.
Right.
Anything left over after you guys block gets multiplied by that multiplier number there, up
Times
to a
1.
maximum of 4.
Okay.
So attack
Gotcha.
8 times 1, max 4.
So we need to defend 6 against each of these attacks no matter what.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now,
All right.
normally, obviously, you don't know the entire attack profile, but I want to make sure everybody understands what I'm dealing with. This is the weakest enemy that I have access to. Imperial soldiers.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Well, I can only defend with 1 grace card, so I will use this card.
Is a success? What is considered a successful defense?
Blocking everything.
Block 8.
Okay.
Wash.
Yeah.
For this.
Do you have something that specifically asks about that?
Yes, it's in my combat style, but it doesn't matter. 'cause I'm
I
not gonna
will
attack
double
turn.
check that then. What were you saying, Nick?
For defend, first off, environmental stunt for inspiring. You see, there's a crowd drawing around us now. And my things are shiny, and Hunter just looks over her shoulder back at the crowd, then at our marshal and the men there, and goes, "All right, everyone, what exactly is it you want to see here? Because I think I know what it is you really want."
Also, a quick thing here. For challenges, defense is the number that must be exceeded for an attack spread to be considered successful. Oh, wait. Right. Trying to answer that foundational question.
Does that count as valid environmental stunt?
I actually need to check if you can use environmental objects when it's not your turn.
Legit.
But I believe it. Yeah. I'm gonna go with yes for now, and reserve the right to revise that later.
Okay,
This
so
is what the demo's as much for me as it is for you guys.
it's true. So effects of that.
You draw a card.
To stunt a talent and also an environment thing.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
What do you mean?
What are the effects of the talent and the environment for this purpose?
The environment benefit is you draw a card. This is much more useful on your own turn because, you can immediately use it, but also, you have another card to use on your turn.
Yep.
The effect of the talent is inspiring, I see.
I am trying to make the crowd boo the monks and disrupt their attack.
So I believe that still only counts as a 1, but you can do the thing on it.
Okay, I thought talents also meant you could play an additional card.
Talents break the cap, yeah.
Okay, so talents break the cap. Also, hey allies, I'm burning a spark. Everyone draw a card before you make your defense.
I'm not there yet.
Who cares? You hear the cheers from the stadium from far away and feel inspired.
Well, wait a minute. Am I getting cards for everybody taking wounds too? If that is the case.
Yep.
Oh, I am. Nick
Yeah, that doesn't have a range boost. That doesn't have a range limitation on it, does he?
Oh, Nick, you took a wound earlier, right? No, Ziggy
No.
negated it. Never mind.
I have taken no wounds so far. Give me a sec.
I'm about to.
I will 100% say one of the other reasons I had them cheat and attack a little early is so that Ziggy can figure out how to do stuff with wounds.
Oh, no, legit. I'm just being silly right now. So, play that and get to draw 2.
This is a very nice hand.
8, you say, and I have 5 wounds.
And a reminder, you cannot use sparks on defense, only offense and skills.
How many sparks do we get back in the morning?
Your rank.
I need to actually do this to survive this attack. Which is,
yeah.
7 and 6. Does that let me survive? 1, 2, 3.
Remember, the max amount of points of damage before it's divided by 2, because all phoenixes, aside from Durance, have level 2 health values. Durance have level 3 health values.
Right, so that's 7, which is none, and 4, which would be I take 2 wounds from that, but get to draw another card.
You just took a wound?
I'm taking 2 wounds from this one.
I draw another card.
And I, sink 2 more sparks into percussive strikes.
Excellent. So, more tutorial time. Some phoenixes have something that says that lets you commit sparks to lessons. That is, you put them on the card. You do not lose these sparks; they still count as in your pool. If all of your sparks are on cards, you do not die. You may also spend them to give +1s to things as normal.
And I said, I'm taking 2 wounds for anyone who cares about that.
I think me and Ziggy care about that.
Yeah.
There is no hand max.
It's just we only draw up at the end of the turn to 5, correct?
Yes, and you may discard 1 card before doing so if you wish to.
Yep.
Ziggy, did you take any wounds?
I've only got the 1 card for defense, so yeah. How many wounds did I take?
You're getting attacked. So normally I'd say you're being attacked for 8. You're being attacked for 8.
Right. So I did a grace of 3. So how much?
You take 4 damage, and all of your health levels are level 2s. So you're taking 2 wounds twice. Yeah, you're still taking 2 wounds from the first attack.
Okay. So because of my combat style, Shiny Mirror, whenever I'm injured by an attack, they suffer 2 points of brutal damage for each wound I take. So they take 4 points of brutal damage.
Yep. Normally you would have just killed 2 people. I assume you're holding back on full death.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. You take the hits and you knock 2 guys out.
Okay. And 4 damage, you said? So these 4 here?
Yeah, over 2 attacks. So yeah, you will actually take out 4 guys with reflected damage.
Question, Wash. Draw 1 card any time one of your wingmates suffers 1 or more wounds from an injury.
Correct. You should just have drawn 6 cards since this combat began, on top of your normal.
Okay, so it's per attack. It doesn't matter.
It's per wound.
Yep.
Oh, it is per attack. Sorry.
Yeah, so Ziggy was attacked twice, which means I get 2 cards or 1 card because it's 1 monster.
They were 2 separate attacks, so 2.
Okay. wanted to double check that. Otherwise, I can get stupid.
Yes. So specifically, this enemy gets extra attacks based on the number of health levels it has, and it had 4 attacks, and they couldn't attack Dan.
Yeah. Nick, did you take wounds from 1 or 2 of those guys?
Wounds from 1 attack.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to
so
know.
you should have 8 cards.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, because Nick gave a thing that let us draw an additional one.
That's
It's
true.
Yep.
I burned the spark to give you all a card.
So
Also, I
I'm
would like to
currently
attack
at
as
4.
soon as I can, but
Yeah, and also I'm revising. The Bastion will not have broken the normal turn order to shake off his exposed. He still has it.
Okay.
He will do if he's still if you guys can't hit him again by the end of Izzy's turn, he will do that. I do believe I said your guys' victory was you hit him
She
twice,
said.
and you've already done so once.
His defense is at 10 or at 8?
It is currently at 10. It was at 8 against Dan because Dan was hidden.
Mhm.
I feel like Izzy's just gonna get this hit.
I could.
Or do you want to do something silly in character if you are in fact Pagliacci?
I'm not Pagliacci, I am Pout.
Sus.
It's very sus.
And you're currently available environmental elements if you want to draw even more cards.
Yep, no, I know.
Okay.
I know exactly what I'm doing.
Oh boy.
And sorry, last time I interrupt, I swear. And after you take your turn, Izzy, with everybody being here and everybody having taken at least one turn, you guys get to decide your turn order, as long as nobody goes twice before everybody else, before anybody gets to go once. It's called a cycle.
Cool.
As I said, I would like to hit the master for roleplay reasons, but I understand if Izzy takes that instead.
I mean, I can just take everybody else out.
Your choice. Do what you want.
Yeah. Is it my
You
turn?
have the power.
It is, in fact, your turn, Izzy.
Oh, okay. So
It is your turn.
through all the cheering people that, Hunter and Bit were going through, and Chronicle is standing there, like, taking damage from these acolytes, you're just going to hear kind of like wandering through the foyer, and suddenly this individual who's dressed in the oddest shaped colored clothings and is just an odd shaped individual is just going to kind of walk across the hall, like kind of ignoring the combat at first, walk over to the wall, take one of the torches off, turn it upside down, and just start, slamming it on the floor to extinguish the light that it was giving. And then he's going to look up at Bastion and say, "It's nice to know you're all delighted to see me." Anyone? Anyone? Oh.
You're gonna have to try harder.
He's gonna walk over to another torch. This time he's going to say, "How about now? Are you all delighted to see me?" And he's going to eat the fire from that torch. And then I'm going to spend a spark, and I'm going to belch out the flames at several of the remaining acolytes.
Excellent.
Do I get a card for using the
You
torch?
do, in fact, get a card.
Okay.
And I will remove the torches from the torch.
Yeah. Okay.
I wonder if there's like a post-it note you can drop in here that has check marks to...
There is. I was too busy setting up everything else, and I forgot to do that part.
Okay, so
Legit.
I'm going to belch flames at these guys. So here's going to be one attack spread, and just from walking through them, like, I know audiences. I know how to kill with jokes and fire, so I'm going to use Killer Instinct. Turns all my attacks brutal.
Oof.
Okay.
So I'm just going to make...
Do you want to add any more cards to that first spread? Because one of them is a trait, and you...
I only need to hit a 5. So there's no point.
Yes, but their defense applies against each attack. So the more you do in one damage, the more breakthrough.
You know what? That's true. Throw another 4 there. 4. Actually, hold on. I can make this better.
And they have a defensive 4. You need a spread of at least 6 to deal damage to them.
No, all of them are brutal.
Right, so you need at least 5.
Yep, so there's 5 here. Because this counts as a +1 still, right? The killer
Yep.
instinct. So there's 5, 5, 7, 7. So that should be a total of 6 wounds to them.
Yes, it is.
Oh, and since I have to spend a spark to do a ranged attack,
Yes.
or can I just say I got close enough to, like, burp in their faces? How's...
I'm going to say that you're fine getting close enough to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just... blah.
Okay, half of the guards are on the ground in pain.
Were my jokes really that bad?
Can I take the action to hopefully end the fight?
Well, Izzy's still got 2 cards left.
I do.
That's true.
I do. I'm going to hold these 2 cards, though I am going to look up at Bastion and say, so this is like a training session. We're like your students right now.
A team building exercise. You already got more than enough training in the Crucible. This is your chance to learn to work together.
Oh. Yeah. I'm sorry. It just... Yep. Nope, he's done.
Okay.
No jokes.
You may discard a card if you wish, and then draw back up to 5.
I will not discard, but I will draw back up to 5.
All right. So Bastion gets his second turn now.
What's his? Because I thought we would get
His
another
speed
one
is
first.
2.
Ah.
Maybe I should have
Okay.
Actually, maybe I should have discarded.
Actually, what? Yeah, speed 2.
Whatever.
Okay, never mind. I see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should have discarded.
I cheated with the Imperial soldiers so they'd get a turn at all. Among other things.
How many of them are left?
10. You beat up to... There were only 20 to start with, and 10 of them are down.
I should have thrown a little bit more damage in then to get them down to 9 so they only have 1 attack left.
God, and it was all brutal damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are literally on fire, rolling on the ground, screaming in pain.
Bastion will turn aside and go, if you will provide me just a brief moment. Mercy, get over here! And the devoted Phoenix that you met, Ziggy, will run up and start using first aid supplies and her own devoted abilities to keep them from burning to death. Please make allowances for medical and do your best not to disturb her work. You are a very creative, monochromatic man.
Thank you.
That's a quote, all right.
I mean, I once had a very nice jacket that went with my ensemble, but it went up in flames. It was my favorite blazer.
He will use his turn to shake off the exposed condition, and, well, let's see how this goes then. He is attacking just you, Izzy.
Oh, damn it!
Oh, right. You know what? This is a combat demo. I'll be nice about it.
I specifically held 2 cards so he could attack other people.
I guess I guess he'll go after Nick again.
No, he's not. Fuck you. I slip on a banana peel and get in the way. I have a death wish.
Nick, you are being attacked with an attack of 14.
Well, thankfully, someone else has a death wish.
Okay. When an adjacent ally is attacked, you may discard this card to force them to attack you instead.
Oh, crap.
Okay,
Nick's
you are being attacked, Izzy.
Nick's across the table. Damn it.
It's adjacent in the theater of the mind, which is
Yeah.
absolutely fine because you've walked up and beaten up a bunch of the people surrounding him.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is the worst game of Get Down, Mr. President these acolytes have ever been in.
Get Down, Mr. President is great.
Oh shit! Wait a minute. I screwed up my turn. Apparently, I forgot Killer Instinct would have let me draw another card. Oh well, whatever. It's what's said on the card.
Oh.
Whatever, doesn't matter. Question: does the 1 for Death Wish count towards my defense, or is it just?
No, you are discarding this card to get it to attack you instead, to jump in the way of the attack.
And he's got a 14. You said.
He is swinging at you for 14. Yes.
I will make a defense spread of 5.
Oh boy.
A defense spread of 5, so 9 of that damage makes it through to you.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically tripping you on your face instead of smashing you with his giant axe.
Of course, no. In the most, everybody wants to see a clown get the shit kicked out of them.
Do you mind if I say how your defense went? Or do you
Please,
have a
please,
specific-
no, please go.
Okay. I believe that the large axe swings at you, and you kind of see it coming. Sorry, it goes after Nick, doesn't it?
Yes.
It goes after Nick, and you jump in the way, arms out, trying to take the entire blow onto yourself, and it is softened by your talent. The Rober chicken.
Mr. Clucky.
Oh my god. Why should I vote for Izzy?
And then you still get smashed in the stomach. You said your total was 5?
5, yeah.
Yeah. So 9 still makes it through.
Mm-hmm. Question is, does he have the
which
times
divided
1?
by 2, so yeah.
So
That's 4.
4 health
Mm-hmm.
levels? Cool. I draw a card.
Yeah. Anytime you suffer a wound, you draw 4 cards, Izzy.
Wait, what?
Your combat style.
Yeah, I thought it was just 1.
No, the other one is per attack. Your combat style, when you take damage, is per wound.
2, 3.
Bitters are really good when they take damage.
Question!
Yeah.
Very important question.
Yeah, huh?
After I take this wound... No, wait a minute. I actually need to read this card. Can I now Reckless? No, this is when targeted.
So funnily enough, this particular attack also forces you to be enraged.
I don't know what that means, because I actually didn't take that combat style.
I
have to attack him?
No. Let's see here. Enraged, I believe, means...
By 1, defense spread goes down by 1.
Correct. You can play an extra card in attack spreads, 1 less card in defense spreads.
Okay. Now, since I drew my Reckless card after I was attacked, does that mean I cannot use it?
Correct.
Okay.
Izzy, can I take turn?
So, yeah, you guys as a group... well, I forget if it's as a group or if it's the person with the torch decides who goes next. But, yeah, you guys can decide who goes now.
I have a lot of damage built up.
Just so you know,
Mental jet?
I'm dealing +4 right now.
I'm dealing +6.
Damn.
He's got his 12 defense back. And there are Imperial soldiers in the way, though only about half of them.
Can I get a big shot, guys?
Yeah, go for it.
So, after this amazing display of pyrotechnics and the slightly less amazing display of punnery and jokes, Hunter is just going to look at the soldiers and look at her target. There's only one way this can really end. And that is, she's going to charge to the soldiers. Spirit ready, and in the last moment, flip it down, all the way to the ground, pole vault over them, and come towards Bastion with an aerial strike. Skill, stunt, acrobatics for getting past the soldiers.
Okay.
Does a 10 do it?
Can do it. It's not acrobatics. What are your specialties?
I have acrobatics in there.
Yes, you do. Tell you what, Nick. Spend a spark and you can do it.
Doesn't 0 sparks mean you're dead?
Yeah, but the ones on your committed to things still count.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You can
Spend
you can in fact spend from your committed if you want to.
Actually, could I also say resolve for facing down the spears of her adversaries straight on with seemingly no care to the damage taken?
That's a little bit more Death Wish, but I will give it to you.
That would be 15.
Okay. Yes, you managed to get past all the soldiers. You are right up against Bastion. You're stepping on the unconscious and slightly singed bodies of your training partners, and probably on top of Pout as well.
Well, to be honest, at this time, if she was not in the middle of combat, Hunter would definitely sign a quick prayer to those who she is literally standing upon, who have fallen in this battle, but she looks at their marshal, their trainer, and says, I took the name Hunter to hunt those who are worth hunting. Marshal, you more than qualify, and if I can strike you, I'll be able to strike my foe. And with the strike, she moves with strength that is absolutely unearthly to such a slight frame.
I'm good with it.
And as much grace and strength as she has for attack, 1, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Now, once again, for the purposes of tutorial, if anybody wants to, say, Ziggy, use your devoted boost ability, or if anybody wants to discard a trait in order and say how you are assisting, you can also add to this check.
What counts as traits?
Anything with a name.
Cards with a 1.
Okay.
So, if I may, since I'm relatively close to Nick and just took the blow as Hunter is, gliding past to make this strike.
His foot could even
I'm
be
literally
Yeah, no,
on your shoulders right now.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, as you're vaulting over my shoulders, I'm going to, with a very practiced aim, just kind of reach in my pockets and throw 2 banana peels onto your feet, so that way when you land, you slide around the remaining people and can duck under and get the extra attack momentum you need to land that strike.
So, what's the trait you're using?
I'm a seasoned veteran of a clown.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Uh,
It's a training exercise.
can I also play one?
Yes, everyone can.
So from my hiding space back in the crowd, especially now that so many of the guards have been thinned out, I'm kind of behind the Durant, and so I see my wingmate going for the strike, and of course the Durant is very skilled and has a strong guard up. So what I plan to do is use hidden motion, and I will basically ricochet my ball off of a wall, and basically hit the Durant in the back of the knee to basically stumble him and knock his guard offline, so that my wingmate can more easily hit.
All right, excellent. I like it.
We're at 17.
Ziggy, you want to get in on this?
I mean, I'd rather wait until my turn.
I have a feeling this will end it.
Okay,
For
then
multiple reasons, including the fact that we're getting close to the cutoff time.
fair enough.
Yeah, because
Sure.
this will be the second hit, because I got
Sure, then I'll use shared. I'll just use shared strength to discard, let's say this one, to give you an extra point.
18.
Question: can we only do one trait per when we're aiding somebody
I
else?
believe so. Yes.
Okay, just wanted to
I
verify.
I will be double checking a lot of things tonight before I go to sleep after getting to see this in action.
Gotcha.
But I am having a blast. I hope you guys are.
Oh, it's great.
It's very
Like,
entertaining.
we're
I'm enjoying it.
right now as the silvered halberd of 2 different regions closes in on our marshal.
Okay. You said 18 total?
Yep.
You do deal the second health level of damage. You did not have enough to take 2 of them, but hot damn, guys.
Yay!
Nice.
You needed at least
Woohoo.
16 without him being exposed to do the second hit, so good teamwork.
Excellent. Now,
All
how
right.
does healing out of combat work?
Yeah. I was going to,
Oh,
as we make that second strike, I'm just going to make the comment. Bastion, are you okay? Your eyes look like they're crossed. You can't control your pupils? No? No one?
That was far
Oh.
worse than the other one.
You need to work on your comedic timing. Don't
Good
worry. We'll have the opportunity.
all right. Bastion will say, usually that takes much longer. Interesting. You will be a strong wing. I approve.
Just
Dawn
battle-
Willing will get you out into the field soon. You can start doing good for the Empire.
Thank you, sir.
Alright. Devoted and Medical Corps, forward! And, get these men some new uniforms.
Us or...
Yeah, they were burned again. I know. Alright, you guys, so... That was the abridged combat demo. I feel free to interact in character for a little bit if you guys want to get to know each other, and let me know who you guys each feel closest to in the wing. Oh, right. You
What-
guys need to come up with a wing name for your group.
I feel like we should roleplay that out.
Yeah, that's probably a session 1 thing.
Yeah.
Or a tonight thing. I don't know. I don't know if we have the time. But actually, follow up on Ziggy's. How does healing out of combat work? Or does it not?
I'd like to know that.
It kind of doesn't.
Oh, good.
So devoted can take wounds into themselves and then give them to other people.
Yeah, I know that,
Yeah.
but I was hoping there was a way.
Your natural healing is Phoenix's is at the dawn. You get 1 health level back.
Okay.
This was a training bout. You guys didn't actually lose them. It's,
Right.
Okay, it's assumed we're back at full health before we're sent out on a mission.
Okay.
yes.
We all did improper strikes or blunted blows or similar.
Correct.
Great. For cards that we have discarded in combat, do those stay discarded until we reshuffle, or
Correct. When you have to draw and your draw pile is empty, you shuffle your discard pile into the new deck.
Okay, the cards that are currently in our hand, are those immediately discarded now that combat is over, or do we keep them as such?
You can discard 1 if you want, and then you guys draw back up to 5.
Okay, so we hold them until next combat.
Yeah. If
Okay.
you guys want, I'll let you shuffle and redraw before the actual first session if you would like to. And fine if you want to mulligan as long as it's rando. Skill spreads outside of combat are also replenished to hand immediately.
Oh, cool. I'm fine with keeping the hand I've got.
Yeah, the same. Good.
All right.
Sound good. I have drawn my new hand after all of that.
Yeah.
Did you guys want to start session 1 proper this week or next week? Because this,
I think it
Might
has to be
you-
next week because
I would like
Unless
to
we're
do.
doing it tomorrow, I don't have a day this week.
okay.
I'd say
Cool.
normally
I
I would
figured,
say
but-
normally I would say this Thursday, but Elden Ring comes out at 6 p.m. this Thursday.
I see.
so...
I
I'm
kind
cooking
of
dinner for
figured, but
several
wanted to
friends,
confirm.
and then Elden Ring comes out.
So, so you guys will now have a week and a half or so to train together. Feel free to do any RP in chats or otherwise. And please tell me who you guys each feel a connection with. It
We
comes a
have a
little bit.
Discord server for doing RPN chats.
Izzy's volunteered to to clone one of his at one point.
Yes, I wasn't sure if you wanted that now or later.
I would love that before session 1 if you've got a minute.
Template of like a private
When you
channel for every player to player would be better, but Izzy's is also good.
I mean, Wash can always add those.
That is true.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions or anything tonight? It sounds like we're hitting the cutoff time. I'm happy to hang out. But I would call this an excessively successful session 0, and I am excited.
I would agree.
I'm happy with this.
Good stuff.
My character is slightly stronger than I thought they were.
Yeah, bitters are really good. They just die real fast.
Yeah. I didn't realize I drew a card every time for each wound I took. I just thought it was one per.
No, you draw one for every wound you take, and one for every time somebody else takes wounds from an attack.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
So
I'm far more luck-based than I expected, but you know what? I accept it. I made my choice.
so we're a wing, huh?
So it would seem.
We will be the light that everyone looks for to.
Yes, we will.
Holds up extinguished torch. I'm delighted. No?
As funny as that is, please don't do it in front of common folk. They need all the hope they can get.
I am nothing but a bag of hope and joy. And yeah. I'll just go here in the corner. Pout just goes and pouts in the corner.
Hunter's going to go just pat on the shoulder. If it wasn't for your flames and the surprisingly effective change in footing, I don't think I would have landed that blow.
I'm glad you have a success story. Everyone needs one of those.
The long sigh. Isn't that the truth?
You just see a single tear come out of one of his right eye, and it just trickles between his bitter symbol that's, etched onto the makeup of his face.
Alright, should we leave things as they are, put them back in bags?
You guys can leave them if you want. I'll do some cleanup.
Cool.
Also, I want to say I'm very honored to be running the game where Izzy finally decided to just make a clown PC.
You're not wrong, though. Damn it, Izzy! I actually want to continue that conversation.
Oh, don't worry. When we're next week, I'm sure we will have more time.
Are we still on the record?
I can turn it off now. If ever,
Yeah, whatever.
Everybody can say goodnight to it.
Good night,
recording.
Good night, recording.